Chapter 49:19. Lin Feng poured a cup of wine for the middle-aged cultivator sitting beside him. The middle-aged cultivator was overwhelmed by the favor. He quickly held the wine cup with both hands. Lin Feng said, "You don't have to be so reserved. I've always been casual." Yes, yes, yes. Don't be reserved. Don't be reserved. The middle-aged cultivator hurriedly said. He was obviously at a loss when Lin Feng personally poured wine for him. At the same time, he was also very excited. An unimaginably powerful expert. An expert that even his master had to lower his status to make friends with. He actually poured a cup of wine for him. If this young master drank with his master, it should be his master pouring wine for him. But now, he poured a cup of wine for himself. How could the middle-aged cultivator not be excited? Shui Zaheo, Shui Yuwen, and the rest couldn't help but find it funny. Wasn't that middle-aged cultivator too reserved in front of his brother-in-law? He probably hadn't seen much of the world, right? His psychological quality seemed to be too weak. Shui Yuwen whispered in Shui Yuexin's ear, "Sister, who is that uncle? He can't be someone from the secular world, right? That's why he's so ignorant. He looks pretty funny right now." Hearing Shui Yuwen's words, Shui Yuexin was almost scared to death. Others didn't know the middle-aged man's identity, but Shui Yuexin did. That middle-aged man's master was the Western Heaven Immortal Sect's Grand Elder, Zhang Wentian. Although Shui Yuexin didn't know the middle-aged man's name, she knew that his master was so terrifying. Presumably, the middle-aged man's identity was also extremely extraordinary. He might even be a big shot who could destroy the dragon-subduing sect with a flick of his finger. That middle-aged man was so reserved beside Lin Feng because he knew how powerful Lin Feng was. And if others dared to casually talk about such an expert, they might be annihilated. Don't talk nonsense. Shui Yuexin glared fiercely at Shui Yuwen. This was the first time Shui Yuwen saw Shui Yuexin's stern gaze and couldn't help but jump in fright. She shrunk her neck and didn't dare to talk nonsense. The spirit wine of the dragon-subduing sect doesn't taste too good. However, there's a unique fragrance to it. Something special must have been added into it. Lin Feng said. The middle-aged man said, "I heard that a type of spirit herb that only grows near the dragon-subduing sect was added. That's why it's so fragrant." Lin Feng nodded and said, "I see. You should try it too." Hearing this, the middle-aged man downed the wine in his cup. The middle-aged man had naturally drunk countless good wines before, but for some reason, he felt that there had never been any wine that tasted as good as the one in front of him. At this moment, many people in the hall looked in the direction of the stairs. A group of cultivators came down in a hurry. "Oh my God, it's the sect master, the vice-sect master, the grand elder, the peak leaders, and the others. They're all the higher-ups of the sect. Why did all the higher-ups come down? Furthermore, he looks like he's in a hurry. Did something big happen?" In the hall on the first floor, there were many disciples, deacons, elders, and cultivators who had come to visit their disciples. When those people saw a group of big shots coming down, they were all incomparably shocked. Many people stood up. "Lord Sect Master, over there." The elder who led the way pointed to the table where Lin Feng and the others were at. Qin Fulong looked over and saw his good friend, the vice-sect master of the Western Heaven Immortal Sect, Zhou Chuyu, sitting on a stool with half of his butt and talking to a young cultivator. When he saw this scene, there was only one thought in Qin Fulong's mind. How could this be? However, very soon, he knew that young master was definitely not an ordinary person. Or else, why would his good friend be so careful? Who exactly was he? Why would he appear in the dragon-subduing sect? Many higher-ups of the dragon-subduing sect had seen Zhou Chuyu's portrait. Therefore, everyone recognized Zhou Chuyu at once. However, when they saw Zhou Chuyu sitting on a stool with half of his butt and carefully talking to a young cultivator, all the higher-ups of the dragon-subduing sect were shocked. They couldn't believe it. They couldn't believe it. All sorts of thoughts surged in their minds. Who's that young master? Qin Fulong looked at the disciple beside him, Qin Chong. Qin Chong was his clansman and knew everyone in the sect like the back of his hand. Qin Chong smiled bitterly. "I don't know who that person is. He should be a foreign cultivator. However, I have some impression of the disciples sitting on his table. They seem to be from the White Fox clan's branch. However, that branch has long declined. They can't even provide cultivation resources to their disciples. I really don't understand why they would know such a big shot. Qin Fulong couldn't understand this matter either. Therefore, he decided to take things one step at a time. It's the Lord Sect Master and many higher-ups of the sect. Shui Ziu saw Qin Fulong and the others walking over quickly. He was instantly shocked. When had he ever seen so many higher-ups? Walala! The disciples of the Shui clan all stood up. They lowered their heads and didn't dare to look at those big shots. They were afraid that they would break a taboo. Not long later, Qin Fulong and the others walked over. The Vice Sect Master and the others stopped a dozen meters away. Only Qin Fulong walked over cautiously. Fulong, you're here. Seeing Qin Fulong coming over, Zhou Chuyu greeted him. Fulong? That middle-aged uncle who speaks carefully in front of brother-in-law actually dares to call the sect master by his name? What's going on? The juniors of the Shui clan looked at each other. They couldn't believe their ears. They even thought that they must have heard wrongly. They had always thought that the middle-aged uncle was someone from the secular world. However, it seemed that he wasn't. That middle-aged uncle actually dared to call their sect master by his name. Chuyu, I'm here. Qin Fulong cupped his fists. Zhou Chuyu hurriedly said, This is my master's good friend, young Master Ji. Qin Fulong was a smart person. He understood the meaning behind his good friend's words. Zhou Chuyu's master was a true immortal expert. In that case, only cultivators of the same level were qualified to be Zhang Wentian's good friend. In other words, this young master who was a little too young was a true immortal expert? Wasn't this too inconceivable? Could it be that the descendant of the ancient sacred emperor of the human race had been born? Qin Fulong's heart was already in a state of turmoil. However, he was still someone who had seen some of the world. Qin Fulong cupped his fists and said, Greetings, young Master Ji. And Lin Feng nodded and said, Find a place to sit. Hearing that, Qin Fulong moved a stool over. Half of his, but sat on the stool and carefully looked at Lin Feng. 7th update, looking for recommendation votes. Monthly votes. Chapter 49-20. There was a mistake in the Shenong cauldron left behind by Shenong. It said that the Wei River Lake was in the middle sacred continent, not the Heaven Realm. However, it was written as the Heaven Realm by mistake. It has been corrected. Shui Zaheo and the others did not dare to look at Qin Fulong. But at this moment, in their hearts, it was as if a monstrous wave had been set off. Their minds even went blank. The sect master of the dragon subduing sect. High and mighty. The sect master that they had to look up to. Now, they had to be careful with their words in front of their brother-in-law. They only dared to sit on the bench with half of their buttocks. They did not even dare to think about such a thing before. His brother-in-law only looked like a handsome young master. Moreover, he was very approachable. Shui Zaheo and Shui Yuan had guessed that their brother-in-law might have a good family background. But now they knew. Their guesses, they were very wrong. Their brother-in-law was definitely an unimaginable existence. Or else, how could he make those big shots act so cautiously? Who is that young master? I don't know him. Even the sect master has to be careful. His identity must be so big that it can scare people to death. Many disciples were discussing. Many beautiful female disciples could not tear their eyes away from Lin Feng. Young, handsome, unimaginable, mysterious identity. Such a man was simply the Prince Charming in their hearts. You all have a seat too, Lin Feng said. Shui Zaheo and the others came back to their senses and sat down. However, they seemed to be a little cautious. After all, 2 big shots were sitting there. Are these disciples the young master's relatives? Qin Fulong asked carefully. Brother Ji is our brother-in-law, Shui Yuan said. Then, she realized that she had been too presumptuous and was so frightened that her face turned pale. However, seeing that these big shots had no intention of blaming her, she heaved a sigh of relief. So that's how it is. I can see that all of you are very talented. I have only accepted 3 disciples so far. If all of you wish to take me as your master, I wonder if I can have the honor of accepting a few of you as my disciples? Sect master, You want to take us as disciples? Shui Yuan suddenly exclaimed. They didn't even have the qualifications to be apprenticed to ordinary elders. Now, the high and mighty sect leader actually wanted to take them as disciples. Moreover, when the high and mighty sect master spoke, he didn't even refer to himself as this seat. Instead, he used I to refer to himself, taking them in as disciples and asking him if he had the honor to do so. Wasn't this too unbelievable? Wasn't happiness coming too suddenly? The surrounding disciples who were watching the show all looked at the Shui clan members with envy and jealousy in their eyes. They knew that the siblings from the Shui family were about to strike it rich. Shui Zihao and the others were very excited. They wanted to agree. At this time, Zhou Chuyu said, Brother Qin, actually, I was just about to talk to young Master Ji about this matter. Although our Western Heaven Immortal sect isn't considered a major force, we're still considered one of the top forces in the Little Western Heaven region. Therefore, our resources are better than the Dragon Subduing sect. Moreover, I'm the Vice Sect Master of the Western Heaven Immortal sect, and I haven't accepted any disciples yet. Therefore, I want to bring these youngsters to the Western Heaven Immortal sect to cultivate. When Qin Fulong heard Zhou Chuyu, he smiled wryly. He knew that Zhou Chuyu wanted to curry favor with Lin Feng. That was why he had said that. Wasn't he also trying to curry favor with Lin Feng? However, when Zhou Chuyu said those words, Qin Fulong knew that he didn't have much of a chance. Qin Fulong didn't blame Zhou Chuyu. After all, with Lin Feng's ability and connections, wasn't it easy for him to arrange for Shui Zihao and the others? Even if they didn't go to the Western Heaven Immortal sect, they probably wouldn't stay in the Dragon Subduing sect. What? This middle-aged man is the Vice Sect Master of the Western Heaven Immortal sect, the #1 force in the Little Western Heaven region? Shui Zihao, Shui Yuan, and the others were dumbfounded. They didn't expect that this middle-aged man who was so reserved in front of their brother-in-law was actually the Vice Sect Master of the Western Heaven Immortal sect. That was their brother-in-law? Who exactly was he? The surrounding disciples of the Dragon Subduing sect were also dumbfounded. Who exactly is that young master? That was the question in everyone's mind. They were extremely curious about Lin Feng's identity, especially the female disciples. They wanted nothing more than to offer themselves to him immediately. What are you guys thinking? Lin Feng looked at Shui Zihao and the others. We want to join the Western Heaven Immortal sect. Shui Zihao said. Joining the Western Heaven Immortal sect was the dream of every cultivator in the Little Western Heaven region. Moreover, it was to become the disciple of the Vice Sect Master of the Western Heaven Immortal sect. Ha 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 ha. Good, good, good. When I return to the Western Heaven Immortal sect, you guys can follow me to report to the sect. Zhou Chuyu said with a smile. When the others saw that the siblings of the Shui clan had become the disciples of the Vice Sect Master of the Western Heaven Immortal sect, they were filled with envy. This was especially so for Su Yiru. Her eyes turned red. Su Yiru wanted to be above everyone else. Therefore, she abandoned Shui Zihao, who was born ordinary. Then, she turned around and entered Zhang Long's embrace. But now, Shui Zihao had become the disciple of the Vice Sect Master of the Western Heaven Immortal sect, Zhou Chuyu. Moreover, Shui Zihao had a terrifying identity that made the sect master, Qin Fulong, and the Vice Sect Master of the Western Heaven Immortal sect, Zhou Chuyu, have to be careful when talking to him. One could imagine, from now on, Shui Zihao would have a meteoric rise. Zhang Long was not even worth mentioning when compared to Shui Zihao. Not to mention Zhang Long, in the future, perhaps Shui Zihao would not even care about the Dragon Subduing sect. Thinking that she had abandoned Shui Zihao and was now a stranger to him, Su Yiru immediately regretted it. If she was still by Shui Zihao's side, didn't that mean that she could also become the disciple of the Vice Sect Master of the Western Heaven Immortal sect, Zhou Chuyu? Su Yiru believed that if Shui Zihao put in a good word for her, Zhou Chuyu would definitely accept her as a disciple. However, all of this was just wishful thinking. Yuexin and I still have some things to deal with, so we won't stay here for long. As for Zaheo and the rest, pack up your luggage and then go to the Western Heaven Immortal sect with Zhou Chuyu. As for the matter of you going to the Western Heaven Immortal sect to cultivate, we will tell your families, Lin Feng said. Shui Zihao and the others hurriedly nodded. Now they still felt that it was unreal. They couldn't even believe that they had become the disciples of the vice sect master of the Western Heaven Immortal Sect, Zhou Chuyu. But all of this was real. Lin Feng got up and walked outside. Chapter 49-21. Very soon, a group of people arrived outside. Shui Zihao said, "Brother-in-law, sister, be careful on the road." Lin Feng nodded. Shui Yuexin said, "All of you must cultivate well in the future. Do not slack off." Shui Zihao and the rest knew that this opportunity was not easy to come by. Naturally, they did not dare to slack off. If they slacked off, then they would be letting down their brother-in-law's help, their sister's expectations, and their own lives. Lin Feng waved his hand, and the three-headed viper flew out. The huge body coiled on the ground as its cold eyes looked around. Celestial Immortal Level Mount. After seeing the three-headed viper, many people could not help but exclaim. Such a high-level mount was naturally very rare. Now, everyone was even more curious about Lin Feng's identity. It was already inconceivable for big shots like Zhou Chuyu and Qin Fuqian to be so respectful towards him. Even his mount was at the celestial immortal level. His identity, once it was revealed, it would definitely shock the world. Lin Feng and Shui Yuexin flew to the head of the three-headed viper, following which, the three-headed viper let out a low roar. Then, it flapped its wings and its huge body soared into the sky and quickly flew away. Only when the three-headed viper's figure had completely disappeared did everyone regain their senses. "Chuyu, let's sit inside." Qin Fulong looked at Zhou Chuyu and said. He was now extremely envious of Zhou Chuyu. Now that Zhou Chuyu had become the master of Shui Zihao and the rest, and Lin Feng was the brother-in-law of Shui Zihao and the rest. From now on, Zhou Chuyu and Lin Feng could be considered to be on good terms. Although Qin Fulong did not know Lin Feng's true identity, so what? Although he did not know Lin Feng's true identity, he was sure that Lin Feng was an incomparably terrifying existence. Moreover, he was still so young. It was hard to imagine how much he would grow in the future. After forming a relationship with Lin Feng, if Lin Feng extended a helping hand during the Doomsday Battle, they might be able to survive. Zhou Chuyu said, "Dragon subduing? Originally, I wanted to stay here for a few days, but now that I've accepted Zihao and the others, I want to take them back to the sect as soon as possible and let them undergo the immortal baptism. You know, the sooner the immortal baptism of our Western Heaven Immortal Sect, the better, so we can't delay it any longer." Many people's eyes lit up after hearing the words immortal baptism. Which cultivator in the minor Western Heavenly region had never heard of the immortal baptism? It was said that cultivators who had undergone the immortal bath's baptism would have their talents greatly increased. It was also said that some of the potential within their bodies would be unlocked. Even a cultivation trash could become a cultivation genius after going through the immortal bath. However, the cost of the immortal bath was extremely high. Many genius disciples of the Western Heaven Immortal Sect had to go through numerous competitions before they were qualified to undergo the immortal bath. However, Shui Zihao's group hadn't even joined the Western Heaven Immortal Sect yet, but they had already reserved a spot for the immortal bath. Who wouldn't be envious of this? Everyone knew that all of this was because Shui Zihao's group had an awesome brother-in-law. Many elders were extremely regretful. If they had accepted Shui Zihao's group as disciples back then, perhaps their status would have risen as well. However, it was too late to think about this now. "Very well, let's meet again in the future," Qin Fulong said. Zhou Chuyu took out a white jade box and handed it over to Qin Fulong, saying, "Fulong, I came here in a hurry this time, so I didn't prepare anything too precious. This is an immortal pill that my master gave me before. It is very helpful in comprehending the grand Tao of true immortality. This immortal pill is my congratulatory gift to you." Qin Fulong's eyes suddenly lit up. He accepted the white jade box and said, "Thank you for your generous gift, Chuyu. We're brothers. There's no need to be so polite," Zhou Chuyu said with a smile. Then he looked at Shui Zihao and the others and said, "Zihao, you guys go and pack your things now. Master will wait for you here. When you come back, we'll set off for the Western Heaven Immortal Sect." Shui Zihao said, "Reporting to Master, We've basically brought everything with us. We can leave now. In that case, let's go now, Zhou Chuyu said and was about to leave. At this time, Su Yiru ran out of the crowd. She grabbed Shui Zaheo and said, Zaheo, take me with you to the Western Heaven Immortal Sect. I beg you to take me with you to the Western Heaven Immortal Sect. Shui Zaheo's expression was slightly ugly. He didn't say anything to Su Yiru. When Su Yiru left without hesitation, they were already strangers. Su Yiru, don't you have any shame? In the past, you despised my fourth brother's poor background and couldn't give you the material life you wanted, so you betrayed him and followed Zhonglong. Now that my fourth brother has been accepted as a disciple by Master and has joined the Western Heaven Immortal Sect, you're trying to get close to him. Don't you find yourself disgusting? I find you disgusting. Quickly take your hand away. Don't grab my fourth brother, lest you dirty his clothes. Shui Yuewen had a fiery personality. She was usually very impetuous. While scolding Su Yiru, she stretched out her hand to grab Su Yiru, wanting her to let go of Shui Zaheo. Many people knew about this matter, so when they saw Su Yiru pestering Shui Zaheo, they couldn't help but talk about it. They looked at Su Yiru with disdain. Zaheo, I love you. We grew up together, and I've always loved you deeply. I was wrong in the past. Can you give me another chance? Take me with you. From now on, I will love you wholeheartedly. I won't be fickle-minded anymore. After Su Yiru was pulled away, she was still struggling to pounce on Shui Zaheo. Your love. It's cheap. It's dirty. Shui Zaheo looked at Su Yiru with indifference. Originally, Shui Zaheo was immersed in pain. Now, after seeing Su Yiru's crazy state, Shui Zaheo completely walked out of his sadness. A man. Why worry about not having a wife? Why be sad for a woman who didn't know how to behave? Doing that was really stupid. No, Zaheo, I know you still love me. You're just angry with me, so you deliberately said those words to anger me. Zaheo, I will change. I will love you wholeheartedly. Please give me another chance. I beg you. Give me another chance. Su Yiran shouted. Master, let's go. Shui Zaheo ignored Su Yiru and looked at Zhou Chuyu. Chapter 49-22. Don't leave me behind. Don't leave me behind. Zaheo, why are you so cruel to me? Why are you doing this to me? I love you so much, but you hurt me like this. Su Yiru cried as though she was heartbroken. Those who didn't know would think that Shui Zaheo had done something outrageous to her. Zhonglong's expression was extremely ugly. Now, everyone knew that Su Yiru was his woman, and Su Yiru did such a thing. She made him lose all his face. Who is this woman? Since when did our dragon-subduing sect have such an unruly person? Qin Fulong's expression was extremely ugly. Su Yiru had made a fool of herself just now. Yet, his good friend Zhou Chuyu was still here. Wasn't she making a fool of herself? Su Yiru didn't just embarrass herself. She also embarrassed the dragon-subduing sect and Qin Fulong. Zhonglong, you disgraceful thing. Hurry up and drag her away. Zhonglong's grandfather's expression changed slightly as he glared at Zhonglong. Zhonglong saw that the sect master was angry and was so frightened that his body trembled. He quickly dragged Su Yiru away. Oomph! Qin Fulong flung his sleeves and soared into the sky, flying toward his palace. The other vice sect masters, grand elders, and peak masters also left with him. As for the ordinary disciples, attendants, and elders, they started discussing today's matter. It brought them too much shock. It was enough for them to discuss for a long time. In the afternoon of the same day, the sect master of the dragon-subduing sect, Qin Fulong, personally issued a few orders. First, Su Yiru, who ruined the reputation of the dragon-subduing sect, was to be expelled. Second, Zhonglong, who often bullied ordinary disciples, was to be thrown into prison for life. Third, Zhonglong's grandfather, Zhang Wei, was to be removed from the position of Peak Master of Heaven's Gaze Peak. Soon, Qin Fulong's orders were issued. After knowing the contents of the orders, the dragon-subduing sect was in an uproar. Obviously, Qin Fulong made these decisions because of Lin Feng. He had done that to show Lin Feng what he had done. Even if Lin Feng wasn't here, Qin Fulong knew that the news would reach Lin Feng. Many people naturally understood Qin Fulong's motive for doing so. As for what happened in the dragon-subduing sect, Lin Feng didn't know yet. At that moment, Lin Feng was lying down on the gigantic head of the three-headed viper, looking extremely relaxed. Shui Yuexin sat beside Lin Feng, smelling the alluring fragrance of Shui Yuexin's body. It was really a pleasure. Thank you for your help today. Because of this, Zihao and the others were able to join a large sect like the Western Heaven Immortal sect. Moreover, Zihao and the others were able to become disciples of the Western Heaven Immortal sect's vice sect leader. In the future, Zihao and the others would definitely have a bright future. Yuexin will definitely remember young master's great kindness in her heart. No matter what you ask me to do, I will do it. Shui Yuexin looked at Lin Feng and said gratefully. Lin Feng said with a smile, "Are you really willing to do anything for me?" Shui Yuexin looked into Lin Feng's eyes. Her face instantly turned red. Her heart couldn't help but beat violently. Shui Yuexin felt that Lin Feng's gaze was extremely passionate when he looked at her. That gaze caused Shui Yuexin's heart to be in a mess. However, Shui Yuexin was vaguely looking forward to something. She said with a red face, "Yuexin always keeps my words." Lin Feng said, "All right then, come over and help me massage it. I feel like my body is getting rusty recently." Hearing that, Shui Yuexin half-knelt beside Lin Feng. Then, she stretched out her slender hands and started massaging Lin Feng. Lin Feng closed his eyes and slowly enjoyed it. 5 days later, they arrived at Black Mountain City. The reason why Black Mountain City was called Black Mountain City was because there was a pitch-black mountain 100 li northwest of the city. Hence, Black Mountain City was named after it. The White Fox tribe had always been located in Black Mountain City. Other than the White Fox tribe, there were a few other large and small clans in Black Mountain City. Although Black Mountain City wasn't considered a particularly powerful ancient city, there were a few powerful clans here. Hence, the overall strength of Black Mountain City was quite good. Outside Black Mountain City, Lin Feng and Shui Yuexin flew down from the head of the three-headed viper. Then, Lin Feng kept the three-headed viper into the temporal space. Then, Lin Feng followed Shui Yuexin into Black Mountain City. In Black Mountain City, there were many people coming and going. It was very lively. Because the city was close to the ancient forest of the Little Western Paradise, many cultivators who went in and out of the ancient forest settled down in Black Mountain City. After Lin Feng and Shui Yuexin entered Black Mountain City, they immediately attracted many people's attention. Many people couldn't help but praise them secretly. What a pair of golden boy and jade girl. After an hour, Shui Yuexin brought Lin Feng to their residence. It was a courtyard near the northwest corner. The courtyard wasn't very big, but it was relatively clean. There were a few children who looked around 7 or 8 years old playing at the entrance. After seeing Shui Yuexin return, the children immediately ran inside excitedly. As they ran, they shouted loudly, "Anne is back! Anne is back!" After hearing the children's shouts, many people came out one after another. The first to come out were a few men and women who looked to be in their 30s. "Fifth sister, you're back. You must be tired. Quickly go in and rest." 2 ladies came forward and said. They were not from the White Fox tribe. Lin Feng guessed that they were Shui Yuexin's sister-in-law. As expected, Shui Yuexin looked at the 2 ladies and called out, "Sister-in-law." Then, she looked at a few young men and called out, "Elder brother." Those young men were probably Shui Yuexin's cousins. "Yuexin, this brother is?" One of them looked at Lin Feng and asked curiously. Lin Feng said, "My name is Ji, and I'm Yuexin's lover." Hearing that, Shui Yuexin's cousins and 2 sisters-in-law were shocked. This was because they had never heard of Shui Yuexin dating anyone. Shui Yuexin didn't mention it when she came back last time. However, the last time she came back was 2 years ago, so it was normal for her to find someone she liked in these 2 years. That's good. Now that Yuexin has a lover, does the main tribe still want to separate Brother Ji and Yuexin? Chapter 49-23. The rest of the Shui family came out too. Shui Yuexin's uncle, 2 uncles, aunts and aunts were there. Her father and mother were there as well. Shui Yuexin's father was in a wheelchair. His meridians had been severed for too long, and both his legs were crippled. Her mother pushed the wheelchair out. It could be seen that Shui Yuexin's mother was definitely a beauty when she was young. Even now, she was still charming. However, life was too difficult, leaving many marks of time on her face, making her look much older than her actual age. She was also much more tired. Father, mother. Shui Yuexin hurried forward when she saw her parents coming out. Sigh. Shui Yuexin's father sighed. He seemed to have seen his daughter's tragic fate in the future. However, he could not go against it. If he did not agree with the main bloodline might wipe out their bloodline. This kind of thing was too common. It was just an abandoned side bloodline. It was nothing to the main bloodline. As parents, how could they not want their children to be well? However, sometimes, the reality was extremely cruel. Shui Yuexin's mother shed tears when she saw her daughter. These days, she had been on tenterhooks after knowing the main bloodline's decision. She was worried about her daughter. Uncle, aunts, uncles, aunts. Shui Yuexin greeted everyone in turn. Her uncle, aunts, uncles, and aunts also nodded their heads. She wanted to say something like, "It's good that you're back." However, when she thought that she might jump into a fire pit when she came back, she could not bring herself to say it. This is... Shui Yuexin's uncle looked at Lin Feng in surprise. In the past, Shui Yuexin was always alone when she came home. Now, she actually brought a young man with her. As for this young man, he was handsome, confident, and had an extraordinary bearing. People could not help but like him. Lin Feng introduced himself. "My name is Ji. I'm Yuexin's lover." Upon hearing that, Shui Yuexin's parents, aunts, uncles, and aunts were shocked. They did not know that Shui Yuexin had found a partner outside. Shui Yuexin blushed and said, "I brought him along. If the main bloodline's people come, I'll negotiate with them." No one knows a daughter better than her parents. When Shui Yuexin's parents saw the way she looked at Lin Feng, they knew that their daughter really liked Lin Feng. Shui Yuexin's father said, "Leave it to me. Even if I have to sacrifice my life, I will not let the people from the main bloodline push you into the fire pit." His daughter had found happiness. This was the happiest thing for his father. The others nodded in agreement. If the main branch really didn't give up and wanted to forcibly separate Lin Feng and Shui Yuexin, then, in that case, they definitely wouldn't sit still and wait for death. Hearing her father's words, Shui Yuexin burst into tears. Suddenly, a clamor of voices rang out from outside. Next, a group of tens of cultivators rushed in. The leader was a cultivator who looked to be in his 30s. His name was Shui Moran. He was a cultivator of the main branch and was of the same generation as Shui Yuexin's father and uncle. "Eldest niece, you're finally back. Eldest niece Yuexin, follow us to the main bloodline. The people from the marriage alliance family have been here for 3 days. It's time for you to meet your future in-laws." Shui Moran said. Shui Yuexin's father said, "Yuexin already has a lover. So, please go back and tell the higher-ups of the main bloodline that the marriage alliance between Yuexin and the other party will not happen. So, if the main bloodline wants to have a marriage alliance with the other party, please find someone else." Shui Moran sneered and said, "She's been single all this time. She just said that she wants to have a marriage alliance and she found a lover? Do you think the people from the main bloodline are so easily deceived? Not to mention that she doesn't have a lover. Even if she does, so what? The other party has seen Shui Yuexin's portrait and likes Shui Yuexin very much. So, even if we have to break them up, we won't hesitate. Don't go overboard." Shui Yuexin's father was livid. The people from the main bloodline were too unreasonable. They didn't treat them as humans at all. Shui Moran said, "Overboard? That's ridiculous. Have you forgotten your identity? As a cultivator from the branch bloodline, it's only right for you to give up everything for the main bloodline. Moreover, Shui Yuexin's marriage alliance is also beneficial to you. She can become the wife of an aristocratic family in the future, and you will be given many cultivation resources. I heard that you sent Shui Zaheo and the others to the dragon-subduing sect to cultivate. I don't think you can provide them with cultivation resources, right? Without cultivation resources, it's hard to raise one's cultivation level. As long as Shui Yuexin marries over, you can use the cultivation resources to nurture Shui Zaheo and the others." At this time, Shui Yuexin said coldly, You don't have to worry about the cultivation of Shui Zaheo and the others. Now, they have joined the Western Heaven Immortal Sect and are disciples of the Western Heaven Immortal Sect's deputy sect leader, Zhou Chuyu. Hearing Shui Yuexin's words, everyone was stunned. Ha 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 ha, how laughable, how laughable. Even if you make up some nonsense, he should have said something more reliable. Instead of saying something completely out of place, Shui Moran looked at Shui Yuexin sarcastically. In fact, Shui Moran wasn't the only one who didn't believe it. Even Shui Yuexin's parents, uncles, aunts, brothers, and sisters-in-law didn't believe it. Western Heaven Immortal Sect. What kind of power was that? Even the main bloodline of the White Fox clan wasn't considered a powerful force in front of the Western Heaven Immortal Sect. Joining the Western Heaven Immortal Sect sounded unbelievable, let alone becoming the disciple of the Western Heaven Immortal Sect's deputy sect leader, Zhou Chuyu. Shui Yuexin's father, and the others didn't know why Shui Yuexin would say such ridiculous things, but they didn't refute it. Shui Yuexin said, "Some things don't need to be explained because there's no need to." Shui Moran sneered and said, "I don't want to listen to your nonsense anymore. Now, follow us. Don't force us to fight." After Shui Moran said that, the people around him slowly closed in. Seeing that Shui Moran seemed to want to fight, Shui Yuexin's family members' faces turned ugly. However, they had already made up their minds. Even if they had to fight to the death, they wouldn't give in. At this time, Lin Feng, who had been silent all this while, said, "Yuexin won't be a tool for the family's benefit. Now, you can leave. You're not welcome here." Chapter 49-24. Shui Yuexin's family saw Lin Feng arguing with Shui Moran and the others. At first, they were worried that Lin Feng would be at a disadvantage. But in the next moment, they saw an unbelievable scene. Lin Feng walked towards Shui Moran as soon as Shui Moran finished his words. Lin Feng arrived in front of Shui Moran and grabbed him. "Kid, are you courting death?" Shui Moran sneered and jumped out, slapping at Lin Feng. However, Lin Feng dispersed his palm in an instant. Then, Lin Feng grabbed Shui Moran's head with one hand and used his other hand to throw Shui Moran's body into the air. Lin Feng used Shui Moran as if he were a wolf's tooth club. Lin Feng swung him around like a tiger. Bang, bang, bang. Along with the sound of the violent collision, there was a loud bang. The cultivators that Shui Moran brought along were all swept away. One by one, they fell outside the courtyard. "Get out of here too." Then, Lin Feng threw Shui Moran out as well. There was a loud thud. Shui Moran fell to the ground. He came into close contact with the ground and all of his teeth were knocked out. Shui Moran roared in anger. To him, what happened just now was a great humiliation. He was thrown out of the courtyard. This was too shameful. Shui Moran was going crazy. His eyes were filled with coldness. He wanted to rush into the courtyard and take revenge on Lin Feng. However, thinking of how powerful Lin Feng was, how would he dare to find trouble with Lin Feng? He hurriedly led a group of people away with their tails between their legs. Shui Yuexin's family members were dumbfounded by what had just happened. Shui Moran was a human celestial cultivator. He was extremely strong, but Lin Feng had managed to defeat him. Everybody had seen what had happened a moment before. Lin Feng was too cruel and violent. However, Shui Yuexin's family members felt relieved. This violent son-in-law. This gave them a feeling of exaltation and satisfaction. However, after that, Shui Yuexin's family members started to worry. After all, the main branch was powerful and had a heavenly immortal expert. They were naturally worried that Lin Feng would be at a disadvantage. Shui Yuexin's father said, "Xin, take young friend Ji and leave Blackstone City as soon as possible. If you're late, you might not be able to leave. We will leave Blackstone City as soon as possible. You don't have to worry about our safety." Shui Yuexin naturally knew what her father was worried about. Shui Yuexin said, "Father, you don't have to worry. Young master is very powerful. Moreover, it's all thanks to you that Zihao and the others were able to become disciples of Zhou Chuyu, the deputy sect leader of the Western Heaven Celestial Sect." What? The group was stunned. Shui Yuexin had indeed mentioned this before. However, they did not dare to believe it. What kind of person was the Western Heaven Immortal Sect's vice sect leader? He was high and mighty like a god. How could people of their status come into contact with him? As for Shui Zaheo and the rest being the disciples of the Western Heaven Immortal Sect's vice sect leader, they did not dare to think about it. Even in their dreams, they did not dare to think about it. However, Shui Yuexin mentioned this again. Moreover, she said it clearly and logically. It did not seem fake. If it was true, didn't that mean their family's luck was about to change? They would no longer be bullied by others? Lin Feng said, Zaheo, Ziyu, Yuewen, and the rest of the 8 have already become Zhou Chuyu's disciples. The Western Heaven Immortal Sect is different from the Dragon-subduing sect. That place has more resources for its disciples. Moreover, I have some connections with Zhou Chuyu. I'm sure Zhou Chuyu will teach them well. Therefore, you don't have to worry about them. Hearing Lin Feng's words, Shui Yuexin's family members could confirm the authenticity of this matter. These people were all extremely excited. They knew what it meant for Shui Zaheo and the rest to become Zhou Chuyu's disciples. Now, they were being humiliated and bullied by the people from the main sect. This was because they were not strong enough. If Shui Zaheo and the rest became strong in the future, would the people from the main sect still dare to do this? When the time came, the people from the main sect would have to be respectful in front of them. Young friend, thank you. You are our family's great benefactor. Shui Yuexin's family members were so emotional that they wanted to bow to Lin Feng. Even Shui Yuexin's father struggled to get down from his wheelchair to bow to Lin Feng. Lin Feng quickly said, Elders, please don't be so courteous. With my relationship with Yuexin, this is what I should do. If all of you bow to me, it would be too much for this junior. Hearing Lin Feng's words, Shui Yuexin's elders gave up. Shui Yuexin's mother looked at Lin Feng more and more like a mother-in-law looking at her son-in-law. The more she looked at him, the more she liked him. Young Master Ji, is that you? At this moment, a voice came from outside. Lin Feng looked outside and saw many cultivators gathered outside to watch the commotion. Many of them were pointing and talking. The one who spoke was a middle-aged cultivator. The middle-aged cultivator was looking inside. Lin Feng did not know this person. However, this person knew Lin Feng. Come in and talk. Lin Feng waved his hand and said. Hearing this, the middle-aged cultivator immediately ran over. He then bowed to Lin Feng. Who are you? Lin Feng glanced at the middle-aged man and asked. I am Yun Zhongtian from Blazing Island. Greetings to young Master Ji. The middle-aged man bowed to Lin Feng. Blazing Island? Yun Zhongtian? I've never heard of him. Lin Feng said, pursing his lips. Hearing Lin Feng's words, the middle-aged man did not feel awkward. He said, Young Master Ji is very busy every day. Naturally, you would not have heard of a nobody like me. I just saw young Master Ji here by chance, so I took the liberty to come and greet young Master Ji. Oh, replied Lin Feng. Then, he asked, you said you were from the Scorching Island? Why are you here? Yun Zhongtian lowered his voice and said, Young Master Ji, I have obtained an ancient map. It seems to be related to Black Rock Mountain, so I came to investigate. Now that I see young Master Ji here, I am willing to offer the ancient map to young Master Ji. Chapter 49-25. Lin Feng said, Let me have a look at that map. Hearing that, Yun Zhongtian quickly took out the map and presented it to Lin Feng with both hands. It was a sheepskin map. It looked a little yellowed. Obviously, that map had been around for quite some time. Lin Feng took the map and looked at its contents. He looked at it carefully and found that the map was indeed pointing to the Black Rock Mountain. Lin Feng could not help but ponder for a moment. What kind of secret did this map hide? Lin Feng knew that now was not the time to explore the secrets of the map. He kept the map and then patted Yun Zhongtian on the shoulder and said, I'll be taking this map. You're called Yun Zhongtian, right? I'll remember you. If you have any trouble that you cannot solve in the future, you can think of a way to look for me. If you can't find me, you can send someone to deliver a letter to the City of Sin. As long as it is something that I can help you solve, I will definitely not reject it. Hearing Lin Feng's words, Yun Zhongtian immediately became extremely excited. If that was the case, then he and Lin Feng could be considered to have become friends. To be able to become friends with a young and powerful cultivator like Lin Feng was far more meaningful than being friends with those middle-aged or elderly true immortals, because anyone would know who had greater potential and who would achieve greater things in the future. Yun Zhongtian said, "Then I shall not disturb the young master any further." Lin Feng waved his hand and Yun Zhongtian left. "My lord, who was that fella? You are the #1 person below the true immortal stage in the Little Western Heavens, and even a powerful cultivator like the Western Heaven Immortal Sect's vice sect leader Zhou Chuyu would be suppressed by you. Why are you so respectful towards that kid?" Yun Zhongtian had just left when one of his trusted aides asked in puzzlement. Yun Zhongtian said, "What do you know? That young master earlier is a powerful cultivator of the true immortal stage." "What? True immortal? How old is he? He's already a true immortal? How is that possible?" Yun Zhongtian's group of subordinates exclaimed in disbelief. "Nothing is impossible. No matter what happens in this world, it is possible." The most frightening thing was not that he had already stepped into the true immortal realm, but that he already had the combat strength of a true immortal even before stepping into the true immortal realm. If the latter was the case, then this young master was far more frightening than they had imagined. If he stepped into the true immortal realm in the future, how powerful would he be? Now that the end of the world has arrived, we have to make plans for the future. I just gave the ancient map to this young master, and he seemed very happy after seeing it. Moreover, he told me that if there was anything I couldn't solve in the future, I can look for him. Now that we have established a relationship with this young master, maybe when the end of the world comes, we will need to rely on this young master to continue living." Yun Zhongtian said, "Sir, you're really wise." The group of subordinates praised. Following that, one of the subordinates said, "Sir, that extremely beautiful lady seems to be this young master's confidant. Earlier, there were people here looking for trouble, but with this young master's methods, he would naturally not be afraid of such trouble. However, this would dirty his hands. Why don't we stand guard here? If those people dare to come looking for trouble again, we'll help this young master get rid of those blind fools." "Old Nyo, everyone says that you're a blockhead. Today, your brain has finally been enlightened. This suggestion is not bad. We'll stand guard outside and wait for those blind fools to come. If those fools really dare to come, breaking their legs would be considered a light punishment," Yun Zhongtian said immediately. At this moment, Shui Yuexin's family had already welcomed Lin Feng into the living room. Everyone was talking and laughing. It was a joyous and harmonious atmosphere. However, they knew that Lin Feng and Shui Yuexin might be tired from the journey, so after chatting for a while, Shui Yuexin's cousin brought Lin Feng to rest. Shui Yuexin also returned to her room to rest. Shui Yuexin's mother followed. Obviously, Shui Yuexin's mother wanted to have a heart-to-heart talk with Shui Yuexin. Both mother and daughter sat on the bed, and Shui Yuexin's mother said, "Xin, that young Master Ji seems to have a good character. Since both of you are in love with each other, shouldn't you find a time to settle your matters? Although we're just a small family, we should still have some etiquette. When the time comes, you can discuss with young Master Ji and ask him to send a few people over. This way, we can settle your matters." Hearing her mother's words, Shui Yuexin couldn't help but sigh in her heart. After all, she and Lin Feng were only a couple in disguise and not a real couple. However, Shui Yuexin didn't want to tell her mother about these things as it would only make her mother worried. Shui Yuexin said, "Mother, I know what to do." Shui Yuexin's mother said, "Yes, you've grown up. There are many things in your heart that you know. However, there's one thing that you must remember. You must protect yourself well. Girls are always the ones at a disadvantage." Mother, what nonsense are you talking about?" Shui Yuexin naturally knew what her mother meant. However, there was nothing between her and Lin Feng. Hence, when she heard her mother talking about these things, she was naturally very shy. Shui Yuexin's mother said, "Xin, don't dislike these words. Men are usually like this. They like the feeling of novelty. After a long time, the novelty will wear off and they won't take it to heart anymore. Hence, girls need to love themselves more. Otherwise, they might become men's plaything. You must have seen more of such things than I know. The reason why I said this is not because I don't trust young Master Ji, but because you're my daughter. Of course, I'm worried about you. I know, mother. I will love myself, Shui Yuexin said. Lin Feng naturally didn't know about the conversation between Shui Yuexin and her mother. After returning to the room, Lin Feng took out the ancient map. He carefully studied the ancient map. Lin Feng discovered that there were many words on the ancient map. After seeing those words, Lin Feng couldn't help but frown. Those words were extremely ancient. Demon Lord, take a look at these words. What do they mean? Lin Feng said. The Demon Lord flew out from the demonic orb and took the ancient map. He then looked at the mysterious and ancient words on the ancient map. Chapter 49-26. Lin Feng asked, Demon Lord, what's written on it? The Demon Lord said, 2 rivers, 2 cauldrons, 3 mountains. 3 cauldrons, the content is fragmented, and some of the words can't be read clearly. At this point, the Demon Lord frowned and pondered. I feel that the things written on this map aren't simple. Find some time to go to the Black Rock Mountain and take a look. Maybe you can find some shocking clues. Lin Feng nodded and said, after I'm done with Shui Yuexin's matter, I'll go to the Black Rock Mountain to take a look. Maybe I can find some clues. The Demon Lord handed the map to Lin Feng and returned to the Devil Pearl. Lin Feng kept the map in the temporal space. Lin Feng didn't continue cultivating. He lay on the bed and fell asleep not long after. At this time, Shui Moran had already returned to the main branch of the White Fox clan. The White Fox race wasn't considered to be particularly strong, but they weren't weak either. Their strength was slightly weaker than a sect like the Dragon-Subduing sect. However, they still had a heavenly immortal realm expert holding the fort. Therefore, they were still able to intimidate others. This time, the White Fox clan didn't want to marry a clan from the small Western Sky region. Instead, they wanted to marry a clan from the Primordial Devil region, which was close to the small Western Sky region. The Primordial Devil region was one of the 3 devil regions in the Undying World. There were many devil clans there. Of course, other than the devil clans, there were many other clans. They were complicated and intertwined with each other. The clan that the White Fox clan wanted to marry into was called the Heartbroken Valley. This clan was deeply rooted in the Primordial Devil region. It was an extremely powerful Devil Dao clan. Although the Heartbroken Valley had the word heartbroken in its name, it wasn't an emotionless clan. It was similar to the Yin-Yang Union sect in the Sky Martial continent. It was a dual cultivation sect. The reason why it was called the Heartbroken Valley was said to be because the place where it was first established was called the Heartbroken Mountain. Therefore, this clan was called the Heartbroken Valley. A sect like this was extremely filthy and unbearably filthy. After entering such a clan, many people couldn't accept it. This was because such a clan had no morals or ethics. It was not accepted by the world. However, this Love-Broken Valley was indeed very powerful. Therefore, in order to deepen their relationship with the Love-Broken Valley, the White Fox clan decided to form a marriage alliance. The upper echelons of the White Fox clan also knew that if the women of their clan were to join the Passionless Valley, it would be like pushing them into a fire pit. Therefore, the upper echelons of the White Fox tribe decided to choose a marriage partner from the side branches. They would not push a woman of the direct bloodline into such a fiery pit. As Shui Yuexin's lineage had completely declined, there were no experts left to guard it. Naturally, it became the target of the main White Fox lineage. At this moment, the upper echelons of the White Fox clan were entertaining the cultivators of the Emotion-Broken Valley. Shui Moran came to the hall with injuries all over his body. The White Fox clan leader's face darkened when she saw Shui Moran's reaction. He asked in a deep voice, Moran, what happened to you? Why did you come back with such injuries? Shui Moran quickly said, Clan leader, Shui Yuexin found a helper from somewhere. She said that the helper is her lover and doesn't agree to the marriage. The helper is really powerful and injured us. What? There's such a thing? How preposterous! The White Fox clan leader's face darkened. At this moment, a young man sitting beside the White Fox clan leader said, Didn't you say that Shui Yuexin is still single? Young Master Wu, Shui Yuexin is indeed single. That brat is obviously an imposter. He did it because he didn't agree to the marriage. However, this is a marriage arranged by the clan. How can a branch disciple like her oppose it? The White Fox clan leader said immediately. Young Master Wu said, I've taken a liking to Shui Yuexin. I don't care if that brat is Shui Yuexin's partner. Since I've taken a liking to her, Shui Yuexin will become my woman. I'm the best at disciplining disobedient women. When Shui Yuexin arrives at the emotion-broken valley, I'll find a way to turn her into an obedient slave even if she's a chaste woman. Young Master Wu's name was Wu Qitian. When he said this, the corners of his mouth curled up into an extremely evil expression. The White Fox clan leader said, Young Master Wu, don't worry. This woman won't be able to escape from your grasp. Wu Qitian nodded and didn't say anything else. The tribe leader of the White Fox tribe looked at a cultivator and said, Emo Sun, go and bring that disobedient girl here. The cultivator called Emo Sun was called Shui Emo Sun. He was the son of the White Fox clan leader. He was an earth immortal and was very powerful. After hearing his father's orders, he stood up. Shui Emo Sun stood up. Then, he walked outside. Shui Emo Sun gathered a number of experts from the White Fox clan. Among these experts, some were from the White Fox clan. Most of them were experts recruited by the White Fox clan. In total, there were more than 40 people. Under Shui Emo Sun's lead, they quickly headed towards Shui Yuexin's residence. Along the way, many people were surprised to see such a large group of people. These were the elites of the White Fox clan. Why would so many people be mobilized at once? Did something big happen? Someone asked doubtfully. Many people shook their heads. They didn't know what was going on. At this time, someone said, Don't you know about this? It's said that the White Fox clan wants to form a marriage alliance with the Emotion-Broken Valley. They want Shui Yuexin to marry them. What? There's such a thing? That Emotion-Broken Valley is a dual cultivation sect. After marrying Shui Yuexin, she'll definitely become a cultivation vessel for a group of people. This White Fox clan is going overboard. Aren't they afraid of being struck by lightning? Then, a cultivator couldn't help but feel indignant. Another cultivator said, What lightning? The world of cultivators has always valued benefits. The White Fox clan is naturally the same. They don't want to sacrifice their direct descendant, so they want to sacrifice Shui Yuexin. However, it's said that Shui Yuexin already has a partner and returned to her clan together. But the White Fox clan doesn't care about this and still wants Shui Yuexin to form a marriage alliance. I heard that Shui Emo Sun brought so many people to deal with Shui Yuexin's partner. After dealing with that person, Shui Yuexin will probably be forcefully taken away. Let's go and take a look. Many cultivators whispered to each other. Then, the group of cultivators quickly chased after Shui Emo Sun's group. Chapter 49-27. Just as Shui Emo Sun was leading a group of people towards Shui Yuexin's residence, Shui Yuexin's cousin Shui Xiling noticed that the cultivator who had been talking to his brother-in-law had not left. What surprised him was that the cultivator had brought a dozen of his subordinates to stand guard outside the residence. Shui Xiling was very confused as he did not know what these people were doing. Shui Xiling asked, Brother, what are you all doing outside? Yun Zhongtian said, I think young Master Ji prefers peace and quiet. We are standing guard here to prevent anyone from disturbing young Master Ji. Hearing Yun Zhongtian's words, Shui Xiling could not help but smile bitterly. He was now curious as to who this brother-in-law of his was. His brother-in-law did not seem to know these people before this. This Yun Zhongtian had led his subordinates to stand guard here. It was obvious that he wanted to flatter his brother-in-law. Shui Xiling invited Yun Zhongtian in but was rejected by Yun Zhongtian. Shui Xiling had no choice but to return to the residence. At this moment, his father, 3 uncles, mother, and aunt were all in the living room. These people were excitedly discussing Shui Zihao and the others joining the Western Heaven Immortal Sect. Shui Xiling said, The cultivator who came in to talk to brother-in-law didn't leave. He led a dozen cultivators to guard outside. I asked him why he was guarding outside. He said that brother-in-law likes peace and quiet and doesn't like to be disturbed. Therefore, he was guarding outside to prevent anyone from disturbing brother-in-law. Hearing Shui Xiling's words, the group of people felt that the person outside was obviously trying to flatter their future son-in-law. Shui Yuexin's third uncle said, Even the Western Heaven Immortal Sect's vice sect leader has to give face to our son-in-law. It seems like our son-in-law's background must be very great. Could he be from some top-notch aristocratic family? However, I heard that the heirs of those aristocratic families are usually more arrogant. Our son-in-law does not have such arrogance and looks very approachable. That's right. Yuashin is really lucky to have found such a good partner, Shui Yuashin's third aunt said. At this moment, Shui Yuashin's fourth uncle said, I remember when that person introduced himself in front of our son-in-law, he said that his name was Yun Zhongtian and that he came from the Blazing Island. That's right. Is there a problem? Everyone nodded and then asked doubtfully. Shui was fourth uncle then said, I remember hearing about the Inferno Island from somewhere before, and I had even heard of Yun Zhongtian before. Shui Yuashin's second uncle said, now that third brother mentioned it, I feel like I have some impression of it too. Raging Flame Island. Raging Flame Island. Could it be the island in the inland lake between our little Western Sky region and the Western Sky region? That island seems to be called Inferno Island. At this moment, Shui Xiling recalled the origin of the Blazing Island. After Shui Xiling's reminder, the rest of the people also remembered. Shui Yuashin's uncle said, that's right, it's the Blazing Island. I heard that the owner of the Blazing Island also has the surname of Yun. Moreover, this person seems to be the strongest person below the true immortal realm in our little Western Sky region. He had already entered the true immortal realm a long time ago. However, I don't know what his name is. There aren't many rumors about him in the outside world. Shui Yuashin's third uncle said, oh right, I have a biography here that I got from Yuashin. Yuashin said that this biography recorded some information about the experts in the Little Western Sky region. At that time, I was purely curious and wanted to read it. At that time, Yuashin said that this biography should not be leaked because the identities of the experts in it are more sensitive. Although I only flipped through it quickly, I vaguely remember that there was an introduction about the owner of the Blazing Island. Quickly take out that biography and read it, Shui Yuashin's first uncle said. Shui Yuashin's third uncle nodded and did not dare to hesitate. He quickly took out the biography and began to read it. Found it. Found the introduction about the owner of the Blazing Island. The owner of the Blazing Island, Yun Zhongtian. He mainly cultivates the blazing saber technique. Once the saber technique is used, it can manifest a world of blazing flames. In this world of blazing flames, there will be countless saber radiances. These saber radiances can easily tear apart the heavens and earth and destroy the firmament. The power is unimaginable. Therefore, the owner of the Blazing Island is known as the strongest person below the true immortal realm. Moreover, it is said that when the owner of the Blazing Island, Yun Zhongtian, fully explodes his combat power, even if he fights with some experts of the true immortal realm, he will be invincible. Shui Yuashin's third uncle found the information about the owner of the Blazing Island and began to read it. When the group of people in the hall heard this information, they all gasped. Because, when the cultivator outside introduced himself, he said that his name was Yun Zhongtian. He came from the Blazing Island. Obviously, the person outside was known as the strongest person below the true immortal realm, the owner of the Blazing Island who could compete with some true immortals. After all, this was a major figure. Even the top forces would not dare to offend such a character. This was because such an expert was usually very powerful. It would not be easy to kill them. Moreover, such an expert could break through to the true immortal realm at any time. If they broke through to the true immortal realm, that would be terrifying. They would kill in all directions and disturb the other party forever. However, the owner of the Blazing Island was a big shot. Not to mention them, even the main branch of the White Fox tribe had to look up to him. He actually did it in front of their son-in-law. He looked very cautious. What kind of identity did Yuashin find for her son-in-law? Shui Yuashin's sister-in-law could not help but exclaim. When she thought of the possible identity of the son-in-law, her heart was like a raging storm. If the identity of the son-in-law was exposed, it was enough to scare people to death. When the group of people had not recovered from the deep shock, they heard a noise coming from outside. It seems that the people from the main branch are here. Shui Xiling said, let's go out and have a look. Shui Yuashin's eldest uncle said. Shui Xiling pushed Shui Yuashin's father's wheelchair and walked out with everyone. When they came out, they found that it was indeed the people from the main branch. The people from the main branch were led by Shui Mashuan, and there were many experts. They looked aggressive, but now the people from the main branch were stopped by the owner of the Blazing Island, Yun Zhongtian, and his group of subordinates. Haha, it's just some nobodies. I'm sorry to have alarmed everyone. Chapter 49-28. Shui Yuxian's family members were naturally laughing bitterly, but when they thought of the identity of the island lord of the Inferno Island, Yun Zhongtian, they were relieved. With such a powerful master like Yun Zhongtian, it was not strange for him to treat Shui Sun and the others like cats and dogs. However, the surrounding cultivators who were watching the show were in an uproar because they did not know that the cultivator who spoke was the famous island master of Blazing Flame Island. After all, there was not much news about the island master of Blazing Flame Island in the outside world, so there were not many cultivators who knew who the island master was. You dare to humiliate me? Who exactly are you? Shui Sun looked at Yun Zhongtian furiously. Previously, when all of them had been stopped by Yun Zhongtian and his men, it had already caused Shui Sun to be extremely infuriated. Now that Yun Zhongtian was using the term Tom, Dick, or Harry to describe him, how could Shui Sun possibly tolerate that? After all, Shui Sun was the son of the White Fox clan leader and an Earth Immortal expert. He was a reputable figure in the Black Mountain City. To be humiliated in front of so many people, if he did not take revenge, he would definitely become a laughing stock in the future. However, Shui Sun had always been a cautious person. He planned to figure out the identity of the person in front of him first before deciding whether to take action. There was a saying that a wise man submits to circumstances. If the other party was someone he could afford to offend, Shui Sun would naturally not mind taking action. If it was someone he could not afford to offend, he would have to be cautious. Facing Shui Sun's question, Yun Zhongtian said domineeringly, "Who do you think you are? Are you worthy to ask me who I am?" At the very beginning, Shui Yuxian's family had thought that Yun Zhongtian was just an ordinary cultivator, and that was why they had been so cautious in front of Lin Feng, not even daring to raise their voices when they spoke. Previously, Yun Zhongtian had always been a cautious person, but it was only at this very moment that Shui Yuxian's family realized that the Yun Zhongtian now was the real Yun Zhongtian. An expert who could compete with some true immortals, an overlord-level existence, was naturally a domineering person. The extreme contrast in their image showed that their young master was extraordinary. This is the Black Mountain City, the territory of my White Fox clan. Don't think that just because you have some strength, you can strut around here. Today, I will teach you a good lesson and let you know how to behave. Shui Sun looked coldly at Yun Zhongtian and waved his hand. Many of the powerhouses behind Shui Sun quickly surrounded Yun Zhongtian and the others. They are about to fight. I wonder what will the result be? That person is so arrogant. He should be quite capable, right? A dragon cannot suppress a snake in its territory. Furthermore, Shui Sun's side has more people. I favor Shui Sun's side. The actions of the White Fox clan are shameless. Therefore, I hope that Shui Sun and the others will be taught a lesson. Many of the cultivators who were watching the show began to discuss among themselves. These cultivators were either neutral or those who supported Yun Zhongtian. The White Fox clan, in order to form a marriage alliance with a demonic sect, had actually pushed their own clansmen into the fire pit. It was just too despicable, and they had incurred the wrath of the heavens. Even those who felt that Shui Sun and the others would have the upper hand did not actually support them. Do it. Take care of these blind fools as fast as you can so as not to disturb young Master Ji's rest. Seeing Shui Sun's group of subordinates charging over, Yun Zhongtian immediately gave the order. Yun Zhongtian looked calm and collected, not intending to make a move at all. Don't worry, my lord. We are experts in such matters. The group of people immediately grinned. Yun Zhongtian's subordinates were not ordinary people. It must be known that the Inferno Island ruled over the lake between the Little Western Sky and West Sky regions. Any cultivator who passed through the lake to travel between the Little Western Sky and West Sky regions would have to pay a toll to the Inferno Island. If the Inferno Island did not possess great strength, Would they dare to collect such a toll? Of course they would not dare to do so. Hence, the might of the Inferno Island was extremely powerful, and the cultivators of the Inferno Island possessed terrifying powers as well. Many of them even possessed some rather powerful trump cards up their sleeves. The men that Yun Zhongtian had brought along with him were even more so. They were the elite exponents of the Inferno Island, and their methods were formidable. These experts quickly charged into the crowd. Following that, what happened next left everyone dumbfounded. Although the experts of the Inferno Island were few in number, their battle prowess was heaven-defying. Like the autumn wind sweeping away the fallen leaves, they knocked down Shueimo Sun's group of subordinates. Shueimo Sun's group of subordinates fell to the ground one by one, vomiting blood before they fainted. Crushed, Shueimo Sun's group of subordinates were actually defeated by the opponent in a crushing manner, even though they had the advantage in numbers. Shock, disbelief. Everyone's face was filled with a look of surprise. You. Shueimo Sun was so frightened that his entire body trembled. This group of people was too ferocious. Shueimo Sun knew that they had kicked an iron plate today, and these people were obviously here to protect Shueyu Xion's line. Who were they? Shueyu Xion's line. When had they ever befriended such experts? Could it be that they were experts brought by Shueyu Xion's partner? But something didn't seem right. Before they came, Shueimo Sun had already asked Shueimo Ran and knew that Shueyu Xion had only brought one person home and no one else. Then where did these people pop out from? Eat this old bull's fist. A 3-meter-tall brawny man shouted as he punched towards Shueimo Sun. Shueimo Sun was shocked. He quickly blocked with his fist. Pong! The next moment, Shueimo Sun and that brawny man punched each other fiercely. Then everyone saw that Shueimo Sun was like a kite with a broken string as he flew out. Kacha. Shueimo Sun and that brawny man's arms were broken. The bones pierced through the skin and were exposed. That brawny man's strength was too terrifying. Who knew how many bones in Shueimo Sun's body were broken? Plop. Shueimo Sun fell heavily on the ground and spat out 3 mouthfuls of blood before fainting. Seeing this scene, many people couldn't help but reveal a shocked expression. Shueimo Sun was an Earth Immortal expert, but he couldn't even take a single blow from that brawny man. Wasn't that brawny man too strong? At that moment, Yun Zhongtian kicked the burly man with his foot, causing him to stumble backward. Yun Zhongtian scolded, "If you want to fight, then fight. What are you shouting for? If you disturb young master's rest, can you bear the consequences?" That brawny man quickly smiled apologetically. "Lord, this old bull is wrong. Next time, this old bull will definitely not do this." Heavens, this group of ferocious people, could they be someone's guards? Many people wailed in their hearts. I heard that Shueyu Xion brought her partner. Could these people be that young master's guards? That young master's guards are too strong, right? Who is that young master? He actually has so many powerful guards? Next, someone exclaimed. Chapter 49-29. I recognize who that man is. It's him. It's actually him. Suddenly, a cultivator spoke out, recognizing Yun Zhongtian's identity, and his face was filled with disbelief. Who is he? Many people turned to look at the cultivator who had spoken. Everyone was extremely curious about Yun Zhongtian's identity and wanted to know who he was. But at the moment, Yun Zhongtian's identity was like a mystery. But thinking that they would soon be able to uncover Yun Zhongtian's identity, everyone was filled with excitement and anticipation. That man is the number 1 person below the realm of true immortals, the island lord of the Inferno Island, Yun Zhongtian. The cultivator who had recognized Yun Zhongtian revealed his identity. Hiss. Following that, a series of gasps sounded from all around. Everyone could not believe what they were hearing. That man was actually Yun Zhongtian? What kind of a hero was Yun Zhongtian? Many true immortals were wary of Yun Zhongtian. But today, Yun Zhongtian was actually guarding the door for someone else. And from Yun Zhongtian's tone, it was obvious that he was extremely respectful towards that young master. If that man was really Yun Zhongtian, then who was that young master? Who would have the right to have Yun Zhongtian guard the door for them? Big bro, could you have seen wrongly? How could that man be the island lord of the Inferno Island? Shouldn't the island lord of the Inferno Island be on the Inferno Island right now? And it is said that the island lord of the Inferno Island is making preparations to break through to the true immortal realm. How would he have the time to come all the way here? A cultivator voiced out his doubts, thinking that the cultivator had seen through the person who had come. The main thing was that he could not believe that such a big shot like Yun Zhongtian would actually be guarding the door for someone else. Moreover, Yun Zhongtian was an overlord in his own right, and he had never submitted to anyone before. Even if a powerful cultivator like Yun Zhongtian had submitted to someone else, he could not possibly be guarding the door for someone else. Therefore, Xiang Luoshu raised his doubts, not quite believing that the leading cultivator was the famous island master of Blazing Flame Island. That's right. You must have seen wrongly. Another cultivator spoke up, still unwilling to believe the words of that cultivator. I'm not mistaken. I've seen the island master of Scorching Island before, so I remember what he looks like. That man is the island master of Scorching Island. I'm sure he's the island master of Scorching Island. The cultivator continued. Moreover, he said this in an extremely certain tone. At that moment, another cultivator spoke up. He is indeed the island lord of the Inferno Island, Yun Zhongtian. About 300 years ago, when I was on my way to the Western Sky region to settle a matter, I passed by the vast lake where the Inferno Island is located, and I saw the island lord of the Inferno Island. It's this man. After hearing the second cultivator's affirmation, the rest of the people had no choice but to believe that the middle-aged cultivator was the island master of the Scorching Flame Island. Now that the identity of the island master of the Blazing Flame Island had been confirmed, Zhang Xian's expression changed drastically. Everyone was even more curious about the young master mentioned by the island master of Blazing Island. Everyone could not help but have a question in their hearts. Could it be? Could it be that the island lord of the Inferno Island, Yun Zhongtian, had already chosen to submit to that young master? Perhaps there was such a possibility. Those cultivators who had not fainted crawled up and hurriedly carried their unconscious companions away. Yun Zhongtian and the others did not stop those cultivators from leaving. Their duty was only to prevent those cultivators from disturbing Lin Feng's rest. As for other matters, they could not be bothered with them. It did not take long for these people to return to the main branch of the White Fox clan. Then, they reported this matter to their superiors. After seeing Shui Mashuan, who was beaten half to death, the White Fox clan leader was so angry that her entire body trembled. However, after knowing that the person who attacked was the island master of Scorching Flame Island, Yun Zhongtian, although the White Fox clan leader's heart was filled with hatred, she did not dare to offend Yun Zhongtian. After all, the strongest person in the White Fox clan was only at the heavenly immortal realm. The difference between them and Yun Zhongtian was too great. If Yun Zhongtian was willing, Yun Zhongtian alone was enough to wipe out the White Fox clan. Wu Qitian said, I know this island master of Blazing Flame Island, Yun Zhongtian, but I've never heard of him joining any faction. At this moment, an old man beside Wu Qitian said, perhaps he was asked by someone to help that lad, and at the same time, help that lad build up his reputation. This kind of thing is quite common in the world of cultivators. Elder Tian is right, Wu Qitian replied, showing great respect to this old man. The tribe leader of the White Fox tribe and the others did not know who this old man was. However, they knew that this old man was definitely a terrifying existence. This was because even Wu Qitian was very respectful towards this old man. This was enough to explain a lot of things. Young Master Wu, what should we do next? The White Fox clan leader asked. Right now, they were unable to resolve this matter, and the White Fox clan leader knew this very well. If they wanted to resolve this matter, there was only one way, and that was for the people of the Passionless Valley to step in. Wu Qitian said, you don't have to bother about this matter. I'll go meet that Yun Zhongtian guy. If he knows what's good for him, I will not hold him accountable for what happened today. If he does not know what's good for him, I'll have to ask Elder Tian to step in when the time comes. Let Yun Zhongtian know that not everything under the heavens is something he can meddle in. If he meddles in other people's business, he will have to pay the price. The old man raised his eyes and said, since the young master has said so, let's go have a look. It's just a mere Yun Zhongtian. He has no right to meddle in the affairs of our Passionless Valley. Just a mere Yun Zhongtian? The White Fox clan leader and the others were shocked. Yun Zhongtian was an existence that could match up to some of the true immortal-level powerhouses. But in the eyes of this Elder Tian, it was just a mere Yun Zhongtian. It would seem that this Elder Tian held Yun Zhongtian in disdain. This greatly shocked everyone, and the White Fox clan leader and the others could not help but mutter in their hearts. Could it be that this Elder Tian was a true immortal-level powerhouse? Let's go. Wu Qitian got up and walked outside, and the Elder Tian and the group of people from the Passionless Valley followed behind him. The White Fox clan leader led many of the White Fox clan's main bloodline's elite fighters and followed behind them as they made their way towards the Shui family manor. Chapter 49:30. As the Black Mountain City was not particularly large, once something happened, the speed at which it spread was extremely fast. The news of what happened outside the Shui family's residence had already spread throughout the entire Black Mountain City. Everyone was talking about this matter, and naturally, they were extremely shocked and moved. Everyone knew that there would be more waves in the future. Therefore, many people headed towards the Shui family's residence to watch the show. Not long after, there was news that the people of the White Fox tribe and the people of the Passionless Valley had joined forces and were heading towards the Shui clan's residence. It seemed that the Love Valley and the White Fox clan would not let this matter rest. Therefore, more and more people were heading towards the Shui family manor. Before the people of the Love Valley and the White Fox clan had reached the Shui family manor, there was already a sea of people and it was overcrowded. In this world, there was no lack of people who liked to watch a show. How could he miss out on such a lively event? They're here. The people of the Love Valley and the White Fox clan are here. At this time, someone shouted from the outside. Following that, the crowd quickly parted to the sides and everyone opened up a path. Dozens of cultivators from the Love Valley and the White Fox clan walked over. The White Fox clan is obviously unable to resolve today's matter. It seems that the Love Valley is going to step in. The Love Severance Valley holds great power, and even a true immortal realm cultivator would not dare to offend the Love Severance Valley lightly. Since the Love Severance Valley has stepped forward, I feel that Yun Zhongtian and the people behind him would submit to them. If they do not submit, then they would have offended the Love Severance Valley. Offending such a great power would not end well for them. Many people started discussing and analyzing the situation before them. Halt! Seeing the large group of people from the Love Valley and the White Fox clan arrive, Yun Zhongtian could not help but call out in a deep voice. His face was slightly gloomy. The other party was really like a dog's skin plaster. There was no end to it. Island Lord Yun, it has been many years since we last met. Have you been well? Wu Qitian looked at Yun Zhongtian and said with a smile. They had met before, so they knew each other. In fact, Wu Qitian's cultivation was much weaker than Yun Zhongtian because Wu Qitian was only at the heavenly immortal realm. But Wu Qitian was from the Passionless Valley, and he thought himself to be a cut above the rest, not thinking much of Yun Zhongtian. Moreover, he still had the Heavenly Elder, who was the great high revered elder of the Passionless Valley, which made him even more dismissive of Yun Zhongtian. When he spoke, there was a hint of arrogance in his tone. So it's you. There is a young master that you cannot afford to offend resting inside. If you know what's good for you, you'd better take your men and leave. Yun Zhongtian said calmly. Hearing Yun Zhongtian's words, Wu Qitian's face immediately darkened. He felt that Wu Qitian's words were filled with contempt and contempt towards him. In this world, was there anyone he could not afford to offend? Even if he was a prince of the heavenly court, he could afford to offend him. Wu Qitian said, Yun Zhongtian, you should know that this Shui Yuexin is my fiancée whom I have yet to marry. So, you had better not stick your nose into other people's business. And that kid behind you as well. Don't stick your nose into other people's business, or don't blame me for being impolite to you. Yun Zhongtian immediately retorted, You mother's fart. Who in the entire Black Mountain City doesn't know of the despicable things that your passion-shattered valley and the White Fox tribe's main bloodline have done? Who doesn't know about it? And you still have the nerve to call the Shui Yuexin fairy your fiancé? Don't you even care about your face anymore? No matter what, you're still from a great sect. If you still care about your face, you should leave right now. Seeing Yun Zhongtian's unyielding attitude and unfriendly tone, Wu Qitian was naturally rather enraged. He said coldly, Yun Zhongtian, you think too highly of yourself. Since you're asking for death, this young master here doesn't mind fulfilling your wish. Wu Qitian then turned to the old man beside him and said, Elder Tian, I'll have to trouble you to make your move next. Hee, a small matter. Elder Tian suddenly let out a strange laugh as he walked towards Yun Zhongtian, a true immortal. Yun Zhongtian furrowed his brows slightly. That's right. Elder Tian nodded. I was just thinking of finding some true immortals to spar with to sharpen my cultivation before I break through to the true immortal realm. Yun Zhongtian said, What shameless boasting. Elder Tian's expression was indifferent as he leaped out and struck out a palm strike towards Yun Zhongtian. Yun Zhongtian, on the other hand, held the great saber in his hand and slashed out with it. Yun Zhongtian's strongest move was his saber techniques, and all of his mystiques were powered by his saber techniques. As Yun Zhongtian's saber slashed out, millions upon millions of saber lights gathered together and shot towards Elder Tian. But Elder Tian's palm strike was just too powerful as it dispersed Yun Zhongtian's attack. The powerful palm strike came crashing down, causing Yun Zhongtian to stagger backwards. So strong! Many people exclaimed in surprise. Elder Tian was indeed a powerful true immortal realm cultivator. Even a powerful cultivator like Yun Zhongtian had suffered a little loss. Of course, the main reason for that was because Yun Zhongtian had yet to break through to the true immortal realm. He was still just a half-true immortal realm cultivator after all. With the difference in cultivation level, it was only normal for him to suffer a little loss. I recognize who that old man is. That old man is the old monster Tian Shui. At that moment, a cultivator cried out in surprise. What? He's the old monster Tian Shui? The super great demon old monster Tian Shui from 1,000,000 years ago? Many people cried out in surprise. The old monster Tian Shui was definitely a terrifying existence. 1,000,000 years ago, in order to cultivate his demonic arts, he had massacred all the living beings in 36 countries. Tens of billions of people had died tragically. That incident had caused a huge uproar, and it was said that some forces had even planned to mobilize their own forces to deal with the old monster Tian Shui. But the old monster Tian Shui had suddenly disappeared, and since then, he had never appeared again. It was only now that everyone knew that the old monster Tian Shui had not gone missing. Instead, he had sought refuge with the Passion Valley. To think that there are still people who remember this old man. This old man had thought that the world had forgotten about this old man. The old monster Tian Shui said calmly. This person was very powerful. So, even when he was fighting against a powerful cultivator like Yun Zhongtian, he was still calm and composed as if he had everything under control. So you are the old monster Tian Shui. I'll let you have a taste of my ultimate skill. Endless Saber Sea. At that moment, Yun Zhongtian suddenly roared and slashed his saber at the old monster Tian Shui. In an instant, everyone saw a sea of saber condensing. That sea of saber contained a wave that could destroy the heavens and earth. This ultimate skill was a technique recorded in the Roaring Flame Saber technique. Yun Zhongtian then began to unleash his final trump card. After the sea of saber was formed, it immediately enveloped the old monster Tian Shui. The old monster Tian Shui was enveloped by the sea of saber. Within the sea of saber, endless saber gleams condensed and blasted towards the old monster Tian Shui. Chapter 49:31. What a powerful blade technique! After feeling the power of the Sea of Blades, many people could not help but exclaim. Yun Zhongtian was indeed the #1 expert below the true immortal realm. When this blade technique was used, some early-stage true immortal realm cultivators would find it extremely difficult to deal with it. Yun Zhongtian's attack was indeed terrifying. Petty tricks. However, in the face of Yun Zhongtian's attack, the heavenly blood old monster was rather disdainful as he snorted coldly. Following that, both his hands gently drew a line in front of him and instantly, a light shield formed. That light shield protected the heavenly blood old monster within. Dense blade gleams came slashing down. Clang, 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 clang. The blade gleams slashed down on the energy shield, and what shocked everyone was that despite so many powerful blade gleams slashing down on the energy shield, only a series of clanging sounds could be heard and the energy shield did not shatter. Seeing this scene, many people could not help but exclaim. The heavenly blood old monster was indeed a famous true immortal realm expert. Although he was an unpardonable evil cultivator, his cultivation was truly terrifying. Thousand-blade heaven-splitting slash. Seeing that the endless sea of blades was unable to do anything to the heavenly blood old monster, Yun Zhongtian unleashed a new technique. He held the blade with both hands and slashed down at the heavenly blood old monster. Following that, an endless amount of blade gleams appeared. Those blade gleams, in an instant, they fused into the treasured blade. Following that, Yun Zhongtian slashed out with his blade, and a 10,000-meter-long gigantic blade gleam formed and slashed down at the heavenly blood old monster. The power of this saber strike was so strong that even the void was shattered. The blade gleam contained an endless amount of blade intent, and after feeling the aura of the blade intent, many people were so frightened that they trembled. What a terrifying blade intent! Yun Zhongtian has long achieved the state of being one with the blade. A cultivator exclaimed in shock. Many people were moved. Yun Zhongtian was indeed very strong, but the heavenly blood old monster was clearly not an ordinary true immortal realm cultivator. He had long stepped into the true immortal realm, so although Yun Zhongtian's attack was very powerful, it was hard to say if it could defeat the heavenly blood old monster. Not bad. Not bad. This saber strike is finally more like it. Faced with Yun Zhongtian's attack, the heavenly blood old monster laughed eerily before he commented on Yun Zhongtian's attack. It was then that Tian Shui attacked as well. Tian Shui swung his fist forward and a massive, blood-colored fist silhouette condensed out from the void. That gigantic blood-red fist shadow flew straight towards Yun Zhongtian's 10,000 zhonglong blade of light. The next moment, the blood-red fist shadow collided with the saber light. Terrifying energy shockwaves swept out. Yun Zhongtian was sent flying by the powerful aftershocks. Wow! Yun Zhongtian finally managed to regain his footing in the air, but he immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. Yun Zhongtian is injured. The old monster Tian Shui is just too powerful. Although Cloud Heaven is able to contend against some of the true immortal pugilists, but it is obvious that they are unable to contend against the true immortal pugilists at the level of the old monster Tian Shui. If Yun Zhongtian had broken through to the true immortal realm, he might be able to defeat the old monster of heaven blood. But alas, Yun Zhongtian has not broken through to the true immortal realm yet. Could Yun Zhongtian have been killed by the heavenly blood old monster here? Many people began to discuss amongst themselves. Everyone was naturally not optimistic about Yun Zhongtian's chances, mainly because the old monster of heaven blood was just too powerful. He was so powerful that it caused everyone to feel despair. I will take your life. The old monster of heaven blood laughed eerily before he leaped out and charged towards Yun Zhongtian, intending to kill him. But just at that moment, a flash of sword chi flew out from the void and slashed towards the old monster of heaven blood. The old monster of heaven blood was shocked. That flash of sword chi made him feel threatened. The old monster of heaven blood was after all a cultivator who had been immersed in the true immortal realm for over 1,000,000 years, and his powers were formidable. Faced with the attack of the sword chi, he quickly deployed a powerful defensive mystique. A blood-red shield appeared before him, protecting him. Clang! That flash of sword chi slashed onto the blood-red shield, and both the shield and the old monster of heaven blood were sent flying. Because the blood-red shield was formed from a mystique, it shattered after taking that blow. And just at that moment, a young cultivator walked out from the void. Young master. Seeing the young cultivator, Yun Zhongtian immediately bowed towards the young master. That young master was naturally Lin Feng. Lin Feng nodded his head. At that moment, the surrounding people were in a complete mess. A young cultivator had actually repelled a powerful cultivator, like the old monster of heaven blood. That was just too unbelievable, wasn't it? Shui Yuexin's family members were shocked as well. When they saw Yun Zhongtian being so respectful towards Lin Feng, they had thought that it was because of Lin Feng's extraordinary background. But Lin Feng had actually repelled the old monster of heaven blood. Wasn't that just too terrifying? How could someone so young have such a terrifying cultivation level? But many people had seen that scene earlier, and they could not help but believe it. You are that person. The old monster of heaven blood looked at Lin Feng with a dark face. He was extremely furious because he had just been sent flying. Although he was not injured, he felt that his reputation had been tarnished. Of course, the old monster of heaven blood did not think that he was inferior to Lin Feng. He felt that the reason why he had suffered a small loss earlier was because Lin Feng had ambushed him. If they were to fight face to face, he would definitely be able to take care of Lin Feng easily. Lin Feng looked at the old monster of heaven blood indifferently and said, "Scram, or die." Hearing Lin Feng's words, the surrounding people exploded. Wasn't Lin Feng just too overbearing? He actually dared to ask the old monster of heaven blood to scram. He did not hold the old monster of heaven blood in any regard at all. Everyone present felt that Lin Feng was too arrogant. Even if Lin Feng's cultivation level was extraordinary, he was not strong enough to ignore the old monster of heaven blood, right? Only Shui Yuexin and Yun Zhongtian felt that everything was normal. They had an almost blind confidence in Lin Feng. "You reckless fool! I will take your dog life." The old monster of heaven blood shouted coldly and leaped out towards Lin Feng. Endless blood light surged out from the old monster of heaven blood's body. Everyone knew that the old monster of heaven blood was about to perform his own unique skill. The old monster of heaven blood's unique skill must be extremely terrifying. At this moment, Lin Feng moved as well. He came from the heavens and could kill an immortal with one sword. Lin Feng turned into a dazzling sword chi and flew towards the old monster of heaven blood. The speed of the sword chi was simply too fast. Everyone saw it. The sword chi that Lin Feng turned into flew across the void, accompanied by a ripping sound. Blood splattered everywhere. The old monster of heaven blood. He was actually split into two by the sword chi that Lin Feng turned into. Chapter 49:32. Dead. The heavenly blood old monster is dead. That's a true immortal expert, but he was killed by that young master in a single move. How is this possible? I must be dreaming, right? No, this is all real. That young master is too terrifying. He's unimaginably strong. Everyone exclaimed and couldn't believe what they were seeing. However, they knew that it was all true. A true immortal expert was really killed by a very young cultivator. This was indeed hard to believe. However, the world of cultivators was a world full of miracles. In this world, no matter what happened, it was acceptable. Because in this world, everything was possible. Son-in-law, you're actually so powerful. Shui Yuexin's family members were all stunned. They could not even think straight. Before this, even those earthly immortals and human immortals were existences that they could not afford to offend. But now, their family's son-in-law was actually so powerful. It was simply unbelievable. The cultivators of Inferno Island were also shocked. They had only heard about how powerful Lin Feng was from their first master, but they had never seen Lin Feng in action. Now that they had seen Lin Feng in action, they knew how terrifying Lin Feng was. A true immortal expert, who had been in the true immortal realm for many years, was killed by Lin Feng just like that. They could not imagine how powerful Lin Feng was. And now, they had more or less established a relationship with Lin Feng. At the thought of this, many of them became extremely excited. Compared to the shock of the others, Shui Yuexin and Yun Zhongtian were much calmer. After all, they knew how powerful Lin Feng was. However, even though they knew that Lin Feng was strong, they were still shocked when they saw Lin Feng kill the heavenly blood old monster. After all, the heavenly blood old monster was so powerful, but he was still killed by Lin Feng. Now, it seemed that they had underestimated Lin Feng. Wu Qitian's face became extremely ugly. He looked at Lin Feng with eyes full of fear. Even a powerful existence like the heavenly blood old monster was instantly killed by Lin Feng. Wu Qitian knew that Lin Feng was not an existence he could provoke. As for the members of the White Fox tribe, many of them were scared out of their wits. Many of them fainted from fright. "Young Master Tian Run," a follower beside Wu Qitian hurriedly said. Only then did Wu Qitian come back to his senses. How would he dare to stay? He wanted to take advantage of the fact that Lin Feng wasn't paying attention and flee. Lin Feng coldly looked at Wu Qitian and said, "Did I say you could leave?" Wu Qitian said with a pale face, "You've already killed Elder Tian. What do you want?" "I still want to kill you," Lin Feng said casually. He really did want to kill this Wu Qitian. This guy was from a dual cultivation sect. This kind of power was extremely disgusting. It was also one of the powers that Lin Feng hated the most. People from this kind of sect did not come out to harm others, and Lin Feng could not be bothered with them. However, the person that Wu Qitian wanted to harm was Shui Yuexin. Although Lin Feng and Shui Yuexin did not have any physical relationship, Lin Feng still liked her. Shui Yuexin was a good woman. If Shui Yuexin did not know him, her fate would be miserable. "I'm from the Passion Valley. Moreover, I'm a direct descendant of the Passion Valley. My Passion Valley has many experts. If you kill me, you'll offend the Passion Valley. If you let me go, we won't owe each other anything. From then on, you go your own way, and I'll go mine. Moreover, I won't provoke Shui Yuexin anymore." Wu Qitian said. Even now, this guy still dared to threaten Lin Feng. Lin Feng sneered and said, "So what if you're from the Passion Valley? A mere Passion Valley is nothing in my eyes." As soon as his voice fell, Lin Feng waved his right hand and a sword chi flew out. With a poochie sound, Wu Qitian's head was beheaded by Lin Feng. After seeing this scene, many people sucked in a breath of cold air. Lin Feng was really too strong and decisive. Such a man was both domineering and handsome. It really made people want to move. Those female cultivators who were watching the show stared at Lin Feng. They couldn't wait to start a relationship with Lin Feng. Now that Lin Feng was about to beckon with his finger, there would probably be a large group of beauties throwing themselves at him. Lin Feng looked indifferently at one of Wu Qitian's followers and said coldly, "Bring Wu Qitian's head back to the Passion Valley. Tell the people of the Passion Valley that if there's nothing, don't come out to harm others. Now scram." "Yes, yes, yes. We'll scram now." After those people kept the corpses of Tian Shui, Old Monster, and Wu Qitian, they didn't dare to stay any longer. They quickly left and disappeared without a trace. The group of people from the White Fox tribe trembled. "Spare us, spare us," the leader of the White Fox tribe said in horror. Lin Feng looked at Shui Yuexin's father and said, "Uncle, how should we deal with these people? It's all up to you." "Emotion, we're from the same tribe. We have the same blood flowing in our veins. Please let us go." The leader of the White Fox tribe and the rest looked at Shui Yuexin's father and begged loudly. They knew that their lives were in the hands of Shui Yuexin's father. After hearing the leader of the White Fox tribe's words, many people couldn't help but curse in their hearts. This old thing was really shameless. Since when did he treat Shui Yuexin's family as his own? Now that he had said that they had the same blood flowing in their veins, he was really shameless. Shui Yuexin's father sighed. Although the main tribe had let them down, Shui Yuexin's father was a kind person and he didn't want to pursue this matter any further. Although they didn't have any feelings for the main tribe, they were still from the same tribe. "From now on, our two tribes have nothing to do with each other. You can leave now," Shui Yuexin's father said. Lin Feng raised his eyebrows slightly. He didn't express any opinions as this was a family matter of the White Fox tribe. Regardless of the conclusion Shui Yuexin's father made, Lin Feng would support him. After hearing Shui Yuexin's father's words, the group of people from the White Fox tribe heaved a sigh of relief. "We'll leave now. We'll leave now." Chapter 49:33. Ladies and gentlemen, the matter here is over. You may all disperse, Lin Feng said. Seeing that there was no more drama to watch, many people began to disperse. However, there were many beautiful female cultivators who did not leave, each of them looking at Lin Feng with their lustful eyes. "Young Master Ji, since the matter here is over, we shall take our leave as well." Yun Zhongtian cupped his fists and said. Lin Feng nodded and said, "Be careful on your way back." "Don't worry, young master, we will," Yun Zhongtian said hurriedly. He was feeling incomparably happy because before they left, Lin Feng had actually expressed his concern for them. It seemed that he had made the right choice. Who knows, this young Master Ji might have already taken him as a friend. If that was the case, then he had reaped a great reward. Yun Zhongtian and the others did not linger but quickly left. Seeing that Yun Zhongtian and the others had left, many beautiful female cultivators walked towards Lin Feng one after another. Those female cultivators then stuffed slips of paper into Lin Feng's hands. "Young master, you must come and look for me tonight." Many of the female cultivators even threw flirtatious glances at Lin Feng after stuffing the slips of paper into Lin Feng's hands. They were obviously trying to seduce Lin Feng on purpose. Lin Feng did not need to read the contents of those slips of paper to know what it was about. It was none other than where they were staying now. A bunch of sluts. How shameless. Seeing this scene, Shui Yuexin's sister-in-law and second sister-in-law immediately cursed. They felt that those women were just too slutty. They actually dared to seduce Lin Feng right in front of Shui Yuexin. Could they be any more shameless? Shui Yuexin's heart was also extremely angry, although she and Lin Feng were not really lovers. Seeing so many beautiful female cultivators trying to seduce Lin Feng, her heart was still filled with anger. Lin Feng did not keep those slips of paper. Instead, he summoned out his heavenly fire and burned those slips of paper into ashes. Seeing this scene, Shui Yuexin's pretty face immediately broke into a smile. The Shui clan members also secretly praised Lin Feng's straightforward actions. Obviously, Lin Feng was not the kind of person who would not reject any woman. After going back to the Shui clan, Lin Feng thought that he was going to leave soon. Besides, the matters of the Shui clan had already been resolved, so he didn't need to worry about Shui Yuexin's father anymore. Lin Feng looked at Shui Yuexin. Shui Yuexin. Shui Yuexin's father knew that Lin Feng was extremely strong, and now Lin Feng wanted to check his father's injuries. Thinking about that, Shui Yuexin's father looked excited. He looked at Lin Feng and said, "Little friend Ji, is there any chance of me recovering?" Lin Feng said, "I can't guarantee that. Let's check first." Shui Yuexin's father hurriedly nodded. Lin Feng began to examine Shui Yuexin's father. His divine sense invaded Shui Yuexin's father's body and immediately discovered that there was indeed a huge problem with his meridians. Many of them were completely broken. In addition, he had been paralyzed for a long time, so his lower limbs had shrunk. It was naturally more difficult to treat. Lin Feng had not thought of a way to treat Shui Yuexin's father for the time being. Therefore, Lin Feng decided to ask the Demon Lord. Lin Feng transmitted his voice to the Demon Lord to see if there was a way to treat Shui Yuexin's father. The Demon Lord said, "Refining a meridian replenishing pill can reconnect the broken meridians. However, his lower body has shrunk due to the lack of blood supply for a long time. He will need some time to recuperate." This result was already very good. After all, Shui Yuexin's father could return to the appearance of a normal person. Once he fully recovered, he would be able to cultivate again. Shui Yuexin asked, "Young master, can my father's injuries be treated?" Everyone looked at Lin Feng, especially Shui Yuexin's father. He was extremely nervous. This was his only hope. If even Lin Feng said that his injuries could not be treated, then his injuries might really be untreatable. Lin Feng said, "It can be treated. I need to refine a pill. Once I'm done refining the pill, Uncle's body will be able to recover." "That's great. That's really great. Father will no longer have to suffer the pain of his meridians being broken," Shui Yuexin said excitedly. The Shui clan members were extremely happy after hearing Lin Feng's confirmation. Shui Yuexin's father was so emotional that he shed tears. All these years, he had been tortured to the point where he wished he was dead. Several times, he wanted to end his own life. If not for the fact that he could not bear to part with his wife and child, perhaps he would have chosen to go to the extreme long ago. Fortunately, he did not do that. After persevering until now, he finally saw the hope of recovery. Shui Yuexin's father naturally trusted Lin Feng completely. He believed that his son-in-law would definitely be able to help him recover. At night, Lin Feng asked, "Demon Lord, what kind of ingredients are needed to refine the meridian replenishing pill?" The Demon Lord said, "The ingredients are not particularly precious. I've already entered the space-time continuum and found all the ingredients needed. Once I've adjusted my state, I can try refining it." Refining the pill. Naturally, It was not something that could be refined as he wished. He needed to adjust his body to a better state. That way, the success rate would be higher and the quality would be better. Lin Feng said, "Demon Lord, thank you for your help." The Demon Lord smiled and went to rest. Bang, bang, bang. Someone knocked on the door. Lin Feng opened the door and saw Shui Yuexin standing outside. Shui Yuexin wore a moon-white dress today. Her figure was tall and voluptuous. Now that her mesmerizing figure was wrapped in the moon-white dress, it was hard to take one's eyes off her. In addition, Shui Yuexin was a vixen with a charming temperament. Therefore, when such a woman appeared in front of him, Lin Feng felt hot. "You're not asleep yet?" Lin Feng looked at Shui Yuexin and asked. Shui Yuexin said, "I'm here to deliver some spiritual fruits to you." Lin Feng knew that Shui Yuexin was just making up an excuse. What kind of spiritual fruits did he not have? Why would he need Shui Yuexin to deliver them? Lin Feng knew how Shui Yuexin felt about him. However, both of them did not reveal this layer of relationship. He said, "Come in quickly." Shui Yuexin blushed and nodded. Then, she walked in with the tray. Lin Feng closed the door. Seeing Lin Feng close the door, Shui Yuexin's face turned even redder. Her heart could not help but beat wildly. She did not know what Lin Feng meant by that. Lin Feng did not know what Shui Yuexin was thinking. He did not mean anything when he closed the door. He just closed it casually. However, Shui Yuexin seemed to have misunderstood him. Chapter 49-34. I wonder what kind of herbs are needed to refine the pill that young master is talking about. If there are any herbs that young master cannot find, you must tell me. Shui Yuexin looked at Lin Feng and said. The current Shui Yuexin was truly beautiful. Such a beauty could make one's heart palpitate. Fortunately, Lin Feng's willpower was strong. In addition, he was used to seeing all kinds of beauties, so he still had this bit of willpower. Lin Feng said, "All kinds of herbs have been gathered. I will be able to refine the pill soon." Shui Yuexin said, "Young master has helped me so much, but Yuexin has nothing to repay you with." Lin Feng said, "Aren't we friends? It's normal for friends to help each other." Shui Yuexin said faintly, "Does young master only see me as a friend?" Before saying this, Shui Yuexin had already made a lot of preparations. Shui Yuexin felt that there were many times when people needed to make quick decisions on certain matters. Especially when it came to matters of the heart, one could not hesitate. If one missed this opportunity, they might not have another chance to be together. Women were naturally more reserved, but when it came to pursuing their true love, they did not have to be so reserved. Boldly pursuing one's true love and living one's true self was the most important thing to do. Lin Feng looked at Shui Yuexin and said, "Fairy, what kind of person do you think I should treat you as?" Shui Yuexin blushed, but her eyes were burning with boldness. "A considerate person," Shui Yuexin said. She took the initiative to walk toward Lin Feng, then stretched out her slender hand and gently caressed Lin Feng's face. He had been teased. Lin Feng smiled bitterly. "Fairy, have you ever thought that I am a person who cannot stay in one place for too long? I also cannot pour all my feelings into a woman," Lin Feng said. Shui Yuexin looked at Lin Feng and said bitterly, "Does young master have many women?" Lin Feng nodded and said, "I do not deny this." Hearing Lin Feng's reply, Shui Yuexin was somewhat absent-minded. Although Lin Feng hadn't known Shui Yuexin for a long time, he had a deeper understanding of Shui Yuexin. Shui Yuexin was just a foxy woman who looked charming and flirtatious on the outside. In fact, her inner world was relatively simple. Naturally, she was very serious about relationships. Such a person often hoped to have a love that belonged to her, rather than sharing a man with another woman. Lin Feng could roughly guess Shui Yuexin's thoughts. Therefore, Lin Feng did not provoke Shui Yuexin. Although Lin Feng could hide some things from Shui Yuexin, but Lin Feng didn't do so. Lin Feng was a relatively pure person. He didn't want to do these fake things. 1 was 1. 2 was 2. Lin Feng was still the same as before. He preferred beautiful women, but he would not do something that went against his heart just to get some beautiful women. To put it another way, it could be understood as Lin Feng didn't want to hurt those simple women. Lin Feng said, "It's getting late. Go back and rest." Shui Yuexin felt that her mind was in a mess. On one hand, she wanted to develop further with Lin Feng. On the other hand, she wanted to share Lin Feng with another woman. Humans were often very possessive. Naturally, no woman would be willing to share her man with another woman. However, some women's love exceeded separation. Therefore, they chose to submit to reality. However, some women chose to leave. Shui Yuexin didn't even know how she left, nor did she know how she returned to her room. She lay on the bed with her long and straight legs intertwined. She stared blankly at the ceiling. No one knew what she was thinking. After the demon lord adjusted his state of mind, he entered the time and space to refine elixirs. The demon lord's elixir refining skills were naturally excellent. Lin Feng lent the black flame, god-devouring fire to the demon lord. The demon lord spent 5 days in the time and space to successfully refine the elixirs. However, it was only the afternoon of the second day in the outside world. Lin Feng took the elixirs to Shui Yuexin's father. After seeing Shui Yuexin, Lin Feng smiled and nodded to Shui Yuexin. However, Shui Yuexin didn't know why, but when she saw the smile on Lin Feng's face, she felt a faint pain in her heart. A sense of alienation. That was a sense of alienation. Shui Yuexin was a sensitive person. In the past, she could feel a sense of admiration from Lin Feng's gaze when he looked at her. Sometimes, she could also feel a burning gaze. It was a burning gaze that carried a possessive desire. Shui Yuexin felt extremely disgusted when others looked at her like that. However, Lin Feng's gaze made Shui Yuexin's heart beat faster. However, now, Shui Yuexin could no longer feel that gaze. Lin Feng was still smiling at her, but Shui Yuexin felt a sense of alienation that she had never felt before. Shui Yuexin wanted to say something to Lin Feng, but Lin Feng had already entered the hall. Shui Yuexin had no choice but to follow him. "Uncle, this elixir should have a very good effect on your injuries. Swallow it. I will help you to dissolve the elixir, and let's see how it works." Lin Feng took out the elixirs refined by the demon lord. Shui Yuexin's father immediately showed an excited expression and said, "Thank you, little friend." "Uncle, you are welcome," Lin Feng said with a smile. Shui Yuexin's father swallowed the elixir and Lin Feng injected his spiritual power into Shui Yuexin's father's body. Then, those elixirs began to dissolve gradually. Not long after, those elixirs began to be absorbed by Shui Yuexin's father's body. Shui Yuexin's father's broken meridians began to recover rapidly. When all the elixirs were absorbed, Shui Yuexin's father suddenly felt a sense of relief that he had never felt before. "Uncle, why don't you try standing up?" Lin Feng said. Shui Yuexin's father nodded and tried to stand up. Soon, he was pleasantly surprised to find that he could actually stand up. "I actually recovered." Shui Yuexin's father's eyes were brimming with tears. "Congratulations, second brother. Congratulations, second uncle. Congratulations, second uncle." Many people congratulated Shui Yuexin's father. The whole family was immersed in joy. Lin Feng quietly went outside and Shui Yuexin followed him out. Lin Feng said, "Fairy, I still have some things to settle, so I might not be able to go back with you. After I am done, I will go to Little Western Paradise City. Let's meet again there." Chapter 49-35. Lin Feng planned to head towards the Blackstone Mountains. The Blackstone Mountains extended for about 50 to 60 miles. Within the mountain range, there were dozens of mountains of various sizes. When Lin Feng arrived, he noticed that there were some cultivators wandering around the outskirts of the Blackstone Mountains. These cultivators were all looking towards the interior of the Blackstone Mountains. They were probably hesitating if they should enter the Blackstone Mountains to take a look. The Blackstone Mountains were very scary, but there were also many opportunities within. It was said that many people had obtained opportunities within the Blackstone Mountains. Since then, they had soared to the heavens. However, even more people had died within the Blackstone Mountains. Such a place was a place where danger and opportunity coexisted. Naturally, one had to be careful when entering such a place. If one wasn't careful, they wouldn't even know how they died. After Lin Feng observed from the outskirts, he discovered that other than the many powerful restrictions within the Blackstone Mountains, there was also a strange power that he felt. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown slightly. The Blackstone Mountains were indeed not simple. Lin Feng found an empty spot and entered the Blackstone Mountains. Although the restrictions were hidden, they couldn't hide from Lin Feng's divine sense. Lin Feng could easily sense where the restrictions were hidden. Therefore, Lin Feng successfully avoided many of the terrifying restrictions. Look, someone has entered the Blackstone Mountains. Someone outside saw Lin Feng and said to his companions, "There will always be people who take the risk to enter the Blackstone Mountains in search of opportunities. I wonder if this guy will be the unlucky one or the lucky one." A cultivator said. The Blackstone Mountains were too dangerous. However, no matter how dangerous it was, there would still be some lucky ones. Lin Feng went deeper. He held the ancient map in his hand. The ancient map didn't have any special fluctuations for the time being. He didn't know if there would be any fluctuations when he neared the destination. The ancient map's final destination was the Blackstone Mountains. There was a red dot marking the final destination. However, the map didn't give any specific indication of the situation within the mountains. Therefore, after entering the mountains, one had to rely on oneself to find the final destination. Suddenly, Lin Feng sensed a dangerous qi which he had never sensed before. His facial expression changed slightly. Lin Feng moved to the left. Clang! The void that brushed past his body shattered. Seeing this, Lin Feng was shocked. An invisible force pierced through the void. If Lin Feng hadn't dodged that beam of light would have pierced through Lin Feng's body. Fortunately, his sudden inspiration ability allowed him to sense the approaching danger in advance. Lin Feng hurriedly summoned his sovereign armor. Clang! As Lin Feng activated his ruler's armor to protect himself, a formless energy slammed into Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng was blown away by that invisible and intangible strength. Even though he was wearing the ruler's armor, Lin Feng still felt like his body was about to fall apart. The power of that attack just now was so terrifying that it made Lin Feng's heart palpitate. Lin Feng quickly rushed into the depths. He felt that he had entered a very dangerous area. That area could condense a formless power, and that formless power would cause extremely serious damage to his body. Therefore, Lin Feng didn't dare to stay in that area any longer. Clang! 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 As Lin Feng quickly retreated from that area, a series of clanging sounds rang out. 3 times in a row, Lin Feng was attacked by that invisible force. He was sent flying again and again. Fortunately, his ruler's armor was strong enough to block that invisible force. Otherwise, Lin Feng had the impression that his body would have been pierced by the sword, one bloody hole after another. Fortunately, Lin Feng finally rushed out of that area. Damn it! What's going on with that area? It's so dangerous. Lin Feng couldn't help but say gloomily. He didn't notice anything strange. The world of cultivators was often like this. There would always be things that you couldn't explain with words. Once this kind of thing happened, you wouldn't know how to face it or deal with it. Before you could react, you would have already died from these attacks. Lin Feng took a deep breath. He didn't set off immediately. Instead, he planned to adjust himself. After he had completely recovered, Lin Feng continued to walk inside. As he continued to go deeper, Lin Feng suddenly felt uneasy. He felt like he was being watched by some terrifying creature. This place was very dangerous. It was very normal for there to be some extremely powerful creatures. Therefore, Lin Feng guessed that he might have been watched by those extremely terrifying creatures. This made Lin Feng a little distressed and helpless. He hoped to find the final location marked on the ancient map smoothly. He didn't want to fight with the powerful beasts here, but all of this was just wishful thinking. At this moment, Lin Feng heard some noises coming from the left side of the forest. He turned his head and immediately saw a girl with a jade scepter in her hand. Her face was pale, and she was running towards him. To be precise, she couldn't be considered a girl. She seemed to be slightly younger than Lin Feng, but her face looked very young. She looked like she was 16 or 17 years old. A gentle pinch on her body seemed to be able to squeeze out water. After seeing this female cultivator, Lin Feng couldn't help but be slightly stunned. How could such a beautiful and young female cultivator come out of such a dangerous place? Handsome brother, I want a hug. The female cultivator also saw Lin Feng. Then, she opened her arms as if she wanted to hug Lin Feng. Damn it. So open? They just met for the first time, and she wants to hug? Could it be that I'm so handsome that I can make these beautiful female cultivators fall head over heels for me? Am I that handsome? Lin Feng couldn't help but touch his face. You're the one who asked me to hug. Lin Feng looked at the girl and said. Then, he opened his arms. He was ready to welcome the girl flying towards him. Idiot. However, when the girl ran to Lin Feng's side, she looked at Lin Feng with disdain. Then, she turned and ran into the distance. Who are you calling an idiot? Lin Feng was angry. How dare she call me an idiot? Did she eat a bear's heart or a leopard's gall? Chapter 49:36. Lin Feng was startled when he saw the terrifying creature rushing out of the forest. The creature shrouded in flames was a holy spirit of the Stone Clan. It looked like a lion, but it also looked like a qilin. It had a tail like a crocodile. Lin Feng didn't know what kind of creature it was. However, Lin Feng was sure that the holy spirit of the Stone Clan was terrifyingly powerful. In fact, Lin Feng had seen many holy spirits of the Stone Clan, but this was the first time he saw one shrouded in flames. The holy spirit of the Stone Clan quickly pounced on Lin Feng. However, Lin Feng had no intention of fighting the holy spirit of the Stone Clan. The holy spirit of the Stone Clan was so powerful that it would be a waste of energy to fight it. Moreover, it wouldn't benefit him at all. This was why Lin Feng didn't want to fight the holy spirit of the Stone Clan. Lin Feng suddenly recalled the scene of the little girl running towards him and opening her arms to hug him. That little girl wanted him to help her deal with the holy spirit of the Stone Clan. She was so two-faced. Lin Feng was speechless. Lin Feng quickly chased after the little girl. However, the little girl was too fast. She disappeared into the forest. Damn, where did she go? Lin Feng was speechless. Roar. The holy spirit of the Stone Clan that was chasing after Lin Feng roared from time to time. The holy spirit of the Stone Clan had a terrifying aura. It was ferocious and violent. Its speed was extremely fast, and it was still accelerating. It should be a creature of the Stone Clan, so it wasn't affected by the seal. However, Lin Feng was different. Lin Feng was affected by the seal, so his speed was much slower than outside. Eventually, the holy spirit of the Stone Clan caught up to Lin Feng. The holy spirit of the Stone Clan spat out a ball of flame that flew towards Lin Feng. After feeling the terrifying power of the ball of flame, Lin Feng was shocked. Lin Feng didn't plan to take the ball of flame head-on. Instead, he quickly dodged the fireball's attack. He successfully dodged the fireball, but the fireball suddenly exploded. Lin Feng hurriedly brought out his ruler's armor. The explosion of the fireball's energy slammed into Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng was blasted away, but fortunately, he had the protection of the ruler's armor and his powerful physical body, so he didn't suffer too much damage. Lin Feng quickly got up and rushed towards the holy spirit. Since he was being pestered by this guy, he might as well fight him. When Lin Feng approached the holy spirit of the Stone Tribe, the holy spirit of the Stone Tribe was stunned. The holy spirit of the Stone Clan shot out terrifying beams of flame from its eyes. Lin Feng collided with a beam of flame. He was immediately swept away by the flame beam. Lin Feng didn't give up. He continued to try to get closer to the holy spirit. However, the holy spirit of the Stone Tribe didn't plan on fighting Lin Feng in close combat. Its eyes continued to shoot out beams of flame. Lin Feng knew how powerful those beams of flame were, so he didn't plan on fighting them head-on. He tried to dodge the beams of flame, but the holy spirit of the Stone Tribe forced him into a rather difficult situation. Shit, this can't go on. Lin Feng's face darkened. He had to think of a solution. Otherwise, he would be at a huge disadvantage. In the end, Lin Feng couldn't think of a good solution, so he decided to keep running. The holy spirit of the Stone Tribe's attacks were watertight. He would be at a huge disadvantage if he fought it. Lin Feng gathered several hundred powerful jade talismans and tossed them all at the holy spirit of the Stone Tribe. Under normal circumstances, Lin Feng wouldn't want to use those jade talismans. Drawing those talismans was very difficult, and the materials were hard to find. However, there was nothing he could do now. Boom! A huge explosion rang out. A large number of jade talismans exploded. The holy spirit of the stone tribe was blasted away. Lin Feng smiled when he saw the holy spirit of the stone tribe being blasted away. He didn't stop. He quickly flew away. Lin Feng knew that those jade talismans could only blast the holy spirit of the stone tribe away. They couldn't kill the holy spirit of the stone tribe. Lin Feng heard the angry roar of the holy spirit of the stone tribe, but in the end, the holy spirit of the stone tribe still couldn't find Lin Feng's whereabouts. After getting rid of the holy spirit of the stone tribe, Lin Feng continued to travel deeper. When he reached a mountain in the depths, the ancient map in Lin Feng's hands actually transmitted waves of violent fluctuations. Lin Feng was overjoyed. It seemed that the ancient map had finally sensed the marked location. Thinking of this, Lin Feng sped up. He couldn't wait to enter the marked location to see what was there. The ancient map suddenly broke free from Lin Feng's hands and quickly flew forward. Lin Feng followed the ancient map all the way. They entered a valley. As soon as they entered the valley, they heard a huge explosion. In the depths of the valley, a large number of rocks collapsed. A huge cave abode appeared in his sight. An extremely cold aura was emitted from the cave residence. When Lin Feng arrived at the entrance of the cave residence, he saw that the cave residence was filled with a cold aura. The ancient map that was suspended in midair once again fell into Lin Feng's hands. Lin Feng held the ancient map in his hand and looked into the depths. It was pitch black inside, and he couldn't see anything. He didn't know what dangers there were, but this was the final marked location of the ancient map. Therefore, Lin Feng decided to explore it. Lin Feng was about to enter, but at this time, the demon lord suddenly said, "Take out the stone armor and wear it." Hearing this, Lin Feng nodded. The stone armor was a treasure obtained from Sin Street. When entering the land of death, wearing the stone armor could avoid some unknown and terrifying dangers. So, when Lin Feng entered the land of death, he would often wear the stone armor. However, this place was not a land of death. Therefore, when Lin Feng entered here, he didn't wear the stone armor. But now, since the demon lord asked him to wear the stone armor, Lin Feng didn't refuse. After all, it was a safe period. Maybe the stone armor could really work. After Lin Feng put on the stone armor, he walked into the cave. His footsteps were very light, almost too weak to hear. Lin Feng carefully walked into the depths. He felt that there might be some terrifying dangers hidden in this place. The feeling of being watched became more and more obvious after coming here. The passage was very long. After walking for about half an hour, Lin Feng entered the depths of the passage. In the depths of the passage, there was a huge mountain belly. What surprised Lin Feng was that he didn't encounter any danger along the way. Lin Feng entered the mountain belly. As soon as he entered the mountain belly, Lin Feng saw a large number of bones piled up in the mountain belly. Chapter 49:37. Who died here? Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. Not too far away, he saw a medallion next to a skeleton. He walked over, picked up the medallion, and looked at it carefully. There were many strange pictures on the medallion. However, there were two ancient characters written on it. Lin Feng had been learning these ancient characters from the demon lord, so he could recognize them. Count of the Wind. Lin Feng read out the two characters. This surprised him, because the Count of the Wind was no ordinary person. The Count of the Wind was in existence from the era of titled gods. The ninth Count of the Wind had controlled the Grand Tao of Wind. The Count of the Wind was very powerful, and he had once been glorious. This was especially true for the first Count of the Wind, who had been one of the strongest titled gods. Although the later Counts of the Wind couldn't compare to the first Count of the Wind, all of their accomplishments were extraordinary. The fact that they had been able to inherit the title of Count of the Wind was enough to show how powerful they had been. Were all the people who died here titled gods? Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. Then, he looked at the broken words on the ancient map. Many of the characters couldn't be seen clearly, but the demon lord was able to make out some of the contents. 2 rivers, 2 cauldrons, 3 mountains, 3 cauldrons. What did these intermittent words mean? What secrets did they hide? Lin Feng didn't know what was going on, but he had the feeling that there were many secrets hidden in those words. What did these secrets have to do with the situation before him? At that moment, Lin Feng suddenly felt his blood begin to flow at an unprecedented speed. Sudden impulse. Lin Feng's expression suddenly changed. He didn't sense any danger, but his sudden impulse ability had been activated. This meant there was an unimaginable danger approaching. What kind of danger was it? Quick, get close to the left wall. The stone armor can fuse with the wall, the demon lord said. Lin Feng nodded. He walked toward the left wall and pressed his body against it. In truth, when the demon lord said that the stone armor could fuse with the wall, it didn't mean that the stone armor could completely fuse with the wall. It meant that, in the eyes of some special creatures, Lin Feng wearing the stone armor was actually a wall. If it could interfere with the vision of those creatures, why would it cause such a visual difference? Lin Feng wasn't particularly sure. The stone armor completely covered Lin Feng's body, and only Lin Feng's eyes were exposed. However, the stone armor was very special, and it gave off a special aura. That special aura, it even covered Lin Feng's eyes. That way, those special creatures would not be able to sense it. Lin Feng's eyes. Even the slightest rustling of the wind, but strangely, to be sure, lint, tea. That made him feel puzzled. Could it be that sudden inspiration sometimes made a mistake? Just as Lin Feng had this thought, he suddenly smelled a fishy smell coming from the entrance of the cave. That stench was very pungent. After smelling it, one would have a nauseating feeling. Something is really coming. What the hell is it? Lin Feng's expression was extremely solemn. He didn't see what the hell it was. He could only tell from the pungent smell that the terrifying existence had arrived here. Perhaps that existence was searching for his whereabouts. Crack! Suddenly, the sound of bones cracking could be heard. Lin Feng saw that 3 meters away from him, a bone had been crushed under his foot. After seeing this scene, Lin Feng suddenly revealed a look of horror. The terrifying existence hidden in the dark was right next to him. Suddenly, Lin Feng felt his body turn cold. Something was approaching him. That was why he had such a feeling. Obviously, the thing approaching him was the mysterious existence hidden in the dark that he was extremely afraid of. Lin Feng couldn't see what that existence was doing right now. The only thing Lin Feng could do now was to wait in torment. He prayed that he wouldn't be discovered by that terrifying existence. Lin Feng didn't move at all. Even his breathing had stopped. He was afraid of being discovered by that terrifying existence. Fortunately, Lin Feng's luck wasn't bad. That terrifying existence didn't seem to have discovered Lin Feng. The main reason was that sure he had played an extremely crucial role in helping Lin Feng conceal himself. Otherwise, it would have been impossible to completely avoid that terrifying existence's perception. Lin Feng knew that he couldn't move yet because that existence hadn't left yet. That fellow was indeed terrifying. However, it had obviously forgotten that the fishy smell emitted from its body would alert others of its impending arrival. Perhaps the existence hidden in the dark had thought of some ways to conceal the fishy smell, but it had ultimately failed. Lin Feng continued to patiently wait for that terrifying existence to leave. While waiting, Lin Feng was also on tenterhooks. After all, that terrifying existence was simply too powerful. It would be terrible if it discovered him. Roar. Suddenly, that terrifying existence let out a low roar. It didn't show itself, so Lin Feng didn't know what kind of existence it was. That terrifying existence seemed to have discovered something special. Therefore, it didn't stay outside and quickly rushed outside. In the blink of an eye, that fishy smell had disappeared without a trace. Lin Feng relied on the fishy smell in the air to determine whether that terrifying existence was here or not. Therefore, when the smell disappeared, Lin Feng felt that the terrifying existence had left. Just as he was about to let out a sigh of relief, the demon lord transmitted his voice to him, "Don't act rashly." After hearing the demon lord's warning, Lin Feng's heart trembled slightly. At this time, the demon lord actually told him not to act rashly. That terrifying existence might not have left yet. As expected, in the next moment, clouds of black fog filled the air. The black fog contained a sinister and terrifying aura. At the same time, Lin Feng heard a low roar again. That monster hadn't left. It was only pretending to leave before going into hibernation. This gave Lin Feng a big fright. He originally thought that the monster wouldn't be able to conceal the fishy smell. Chapter 49:38. Lin Feng felt a lingering fear in his heart. Fortunately, nothing bad had happened, so he was still safe. Perhaps that monster really couldn't find its target here. Thus, he quickly rushed out. Lin Feng saw a cloud of black fog rolling and dissipating at the end of the passage. That monster should have left. To be safe, Lin Feng decided to continue observing for a while. Thus, Lin Feng didn't move. He waited for 2 hours, and when he was sure that the monster didn't appear again, Lin Feng finally relaxed. Demon Lord, what was that thing? Lin Feng asked telepathically. That unknown monster made him feel a threat he had never felt before. One could imagine that the monster was definitely in existence, so powerful that it made people pale with fright. However, he didn't know what that monster was. Lin Feng was very curious about that monster, but he couldn't see its true appearance. Perhaps the Demon Lord knew. It's a heavenly oasis beast. The Demon Lord said. Heavenly oasis beast? What's that? Lin Feng couldn't help but feel stunned. This was the first time he had heard of such a creature. Even the classic of mountains and seas didn't seem to have any information about it. However, after thinking about it, he understood. In this epic, countless powerful beasts had been born. Even the classic of mountains and seas only recorded a small portion of the beasts. The classic of mountains and seas didn't record the majority of the beasts. Thus, there were many unknown beasts. Those beasts were often abnormally powerful, but no one knew what they were called or where they came from. The Demon Lord explained, "This is an extremely terrifying beast. There are 2 different types of heavenly oasis beasts. One type controls the power of darkness, while the other controls the power of light. However, both types are extremely ferocious. These heavenly oasis beasts are definitely not to be trifled with. Their methods are unimaginable. Back then, when there were many heavenly oasis beasts, they stirred up trouble outside and fed on titled gods. Many titled gods were killed." Hearing up to here, Lin Feng could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. Heavenly oasis beast. Wasn't this a little too cruel? Feeding on titled gods? It was unimaginably terrifying. It was hard to imagine just how powerful a heavenly ethereal beast must be to be able to feed on a titled god. The Demon Lord continued, "The top experts among the titled gods were furious and decided to join forces with other titled gods to besiege the heavenly void beast. That battle could be said to be extremely tragic. A large number of titled gods fell in the battle to besiege the heavenly void beast. However, after that battle, the heavenly void beast also suffered an unprecedented injury. The heavenly void beast suffered heavy casualties and completely disappeared from the stage of history after that battle. After that, the heavenly void beast did not appear for a long time. However, in some dangerous places, there might still be heavenly void beasts that have been struggling to survive until now, or perhaps some descendants of the heavenly void beast from back then. Clearly, that heavenly void beast was the kind of heavenly void beast that the Demon Lord was talking about. Perhaps it was a heavenly void beast that had survived the great battle and was struggling to survive until now, or perhaps it was a descendant of the heavenly void beast from back then." Lin Feng said, "These ferocious void beasts are simply natural killers. They hide in the void and can launch a sure kill attack on their enemies. It's not easy to deal with them, but fortunately, these ferocious void beasts have disappeared." As Lin Feng spoke, he checked the condition of the skeletons. All of the skeletons had already decayed, and some of the skeletons had tokens hanging on them. The craftsmanship was very similar to the tokens that Lin Feng had seen before. Lin Feng looked at some of the tokens and was shocked to discover that the tokens had names of titled gods written on them. There's a heavenly void beast here, and these people seem to be titled gods. Could they be the titled gods who had besieged the heavenly void beast from back then? They were no match for the heavenly void beast, so they were killed by it and finally died here? The Demon Lord said, "That's one possibility, but I don't think it's that simple. It's not easy to investigate the past, and we don't have to care about how these people died or what happened to them back then. The only thing we need to care about now is to see if we can get anything good from these people." Lin Feng nodded. He took off a cultivator's storage ring and sensed it. There must be some good stuff in the storage rings of these titled gods. If they could find it, it would be a great harvest. However, when Lin Feng's divine sense entered the storage ring, he frowned slightly. The storage ring had been destroyed, and the things inside had been destroyed along with it. What a pity. There were about 20 or 30 skeletons here. Lin Feng did not count how many there were, but it was about the same number. Lin Feng checked the storage rings on the fingers of the skeletons. What made Lin Feng speechless was that the storage rings were all destroyed. "Hey, this storage ring is not destroyed." Lin Feng's eyes lit up. He found an undamaged storage ring, which made him very happy. Lin Feng's divine sense began to explore the storage ring. Suddenly, the ancient map that Lin Feng had obtained began to fluctuate violently. Then, another ancient map flew out from the storage ring. It seemed to want to fly out of the storage ring, but it failed to succeed after several attempts. Lin Feng sensed the ancient map, which made Lin Feng very surprised. With a thought, the ancient map immediately flew out. When the ancient map flew out, the ancient map flew out. The ancient map in Lin Feng's hand struggled, and the two ancient maps flew together. Lin Feng was surprised. The two ancient maps seemed to be going through some kind of change, but it was hard to say what it was. Rays of divine light escaped from the two ancient maps. Not long after, the divine light completely wrapped the two ancient maps. Lin Feng knew that the two ancient maps should be going through some kind of change. Soon, he would know what kind of change it was. After waiting for about a quarter of an hour, the divine light dissipated. Lin Feng suddenly saw that the two pieces of the map had fused together into a single ancient map. This was the first time he had seen such a situation. Chapter 49-39. Let's go out and study it again. We can't stay here for long. The Demon Lord said. Lin Feng nodded. This place was indeed not a good place to stay, as there was no telling when the heavenly ethereal beast would return. If he was blocked here, he would be in for a lot of trouble. Lin Feng put the map away and didn't stay there any longer. He quickly left. Lin Feng left the Blackstone Mountains without a hitch. He found a secluded place and took out the ancient map. The map was very special, and the lines on it were rather complicated. Lin Feng let the Demon Lord take a look, and the Demon Lord said, "The text from before is still there, but there seems to be some extra text." The text from before was 2 rivers, 2 cauldrons, 3 mountains, 3 cauldrons. Lin Feng remembered these words very clearly. Lin Feng asked, "What do these extra words mean?" "Wei River, Lakeside Wei River," the Demon Lord said. Lin Feng frowned slightly. What did Wei River, Lakeside Wei River mean? Suddenly, Lin Feng thought of Shinnong's residence. The Middle Holy Continent had a Wei River lakeside, and it was rumored that Shinnong had taken root there. Wei River Lake is a huge lake, and the river that flows out from it is the Wei River, the Demon Lord said. Lin Feng nodded and asked, "Could this map be related to Shinnong?" The Demon Lord said, "It's possible. After all, Shinnong used to live here by the Wei River." Lin Feng scanned the items in the storage ring with his divine sense. There was a large pile of high-grade immortal stones, most likely used by that cultivator for cultivation. There were also many other natural treasures, but what really caught Lin Feng's attention was a stone cauldron. He summoned it. Shinnong made this stone cauldron, and it's very similar to the one I obtained before, Lin Feng said in shock. The reason he knew it was Shinnong's cauldron was because many of the runes on it were the same. However, this cauldron had been damaged. Although it hadn't shattered, there were many cracks on it. Those cracks were huge and extremely deep. If he used just a little bit of his power on the cauldron, it would probably shatter. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown when he saw the cauldron. It seemed that it was only a matter of time before the cauldron was destroyed. The Demon Lord said, "He has Shinnong's cauldron and has a map." Lin Feng suddenly thought of the celestial Martial Continent, the old farmer who had protected the immemorial Oath of Allegiance. However, The old farmer's substandard Shunnong cauldron should be much more powerful than the other ones. It should be very close to the real Shunnong cauldron. Perhaps the old man was also a descendant of Shunnong. However, Lin Feng was unable to return to the martial heaven continent, so he naturally couldn't ask about this matter. Perhaps I'll only be able to find out more about Shunnong after I reach the Middle Sacred Prefecture, Lin Feng couldn't help but say. He put away the ancient map, the broken stone cauldron, and the spatial ring. The demon lord said, "Then we'll wait until we reach the Middle Sacred Prefecture to explore its secrets." The Middle Sacred Prefecture was the territory of the Heavenly Court. Lin Feng couldn't go there for the time being. He was on the Heavenly Court's must-kill list. If he went there now, he would definitely die. Furthermore, there was a deep enmity between the Demon Lord and the Heavenly Emperor. Now that he was far from the Middle Sacred Prefecture, the Demon Lord could use some special methods to avoid the Heavenly Emperor's detection. Once he reached the Middle Sacred Prefecture and got closer to the Heavenly Emperor, he might not be able to avoid the Heavenly Emperor's detection. If the Heavenly Emperor sensed him, it would be a disaster. One had to know how to judge the situation. One had to know how to act according to one's ability. Whatever ability one had to do the corresponding thing. Right now, Lin Feng's main goal was to increase his own strength. Only by becoming stronger would he be able to face all kinds of difficulties. Lin Feng rested for a day. Then he returned to the Western Paradise City. Lin Feng wanted to see Yun Tianyu and ask him about the ancient survivors as well as Yaoguang's whereabouts. Right now, Lin Feng was very concerned about Feng Yaoguang. After arriving at the Western Paradise City, Lin Feng went to the all-knowing pavilion. Shui Yuexin hadn't returned yet. If she were to travel alone, her speed might be slower. Lin Feng inquired about Yun Tianyu, but Yun Tianyu hadn't arrived yet. Right now, many factions were targeting Yun Tianyu. Naturally, they wouldn't let him go so easily, especially the 8-level palace. In fact, some people said that the 8-level palace was the #1 faction in the minor Western Paradise region, while others said that the Western Paradise Immortal sect was the #1 faction. However, it was hard to say which one was the #1 faction. Needless to say, the 8-level palace had a strong foundation and the support of the Heavenly Court. Therefore, this faction was very powerful. This was also why so many people thought that the 8-level palace was the #1 faction. As for the Western Paradise Immortal sect, it had existed much earlier than the 8-level palace and was considered an old faction. Back then, before the 8-level palace had risen, the Western Paradise Immortal sect was already one of the strongest factions in the minor Western Paradise region. When the 8-level palace rose, the Western Paradise Immortal sect was already the #1 faction in the minor Western Paradise region. As time passed, many major factions disappeared in the long river of history. However, the Western Paradise Immortal sect and the 8-level palace had continued to exist until now. Nobody knew when it started, but more and more people thought that the Western Paradise Immortal sect was no longer the #1 faction in the minor Western Paradise region and that the 8-level palace had replaced it. The Western Paradise Immortal sect had been relatively low-key in recent years and didn't pay attention to these discussions. Chapter 49-40. After leaving the Baishao Pavilion, Lin Feng couldn't help but rub his chin. He had a grudge against young Master Mingyu. In fact, it wasn't just young Master Mingyu. The entire Baji Palace had a grudge against him. They had a hostile relationship to begin with. However, Lin Feng had yet to exchange blows with young Master Mingyu. When he first met young Master Mingyu, Lin Feng still had to look up to him. At that time, young Master Mingyu was indeed too powerful. But now, Lin Feng's cultivation had advanced by leaps and bounds. Naturally, he was no longer afraid of young Master Mingyu. But Lin Feng also knew that if he really fought against Mr. Mingyu, it would be difficult to say what would happen because Lin Feng's cultivation had increased by leaps and bounds and Mr. Mingyu's cultivation had also increased by leaps and bounds. If I can quickly advance to the Earth Immortal Realm, these peak-level geniuses of the undying world will be nothing. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. He was still in the worldly immortal realm. Lin Feng's foundation was actually stronger than those peak-level geniuses of the undying world. The only thing that Lin Feng couldn't compare to those peak-level geniuses of the undying world was his cultivation level. However, this was nothing. Lin Feng believed that his cultivation level would rise very soon. Lin Feng walked towards his residence. On the way, he saw a girl. When he saw the girl, Lin Feng immediately gnashed his teeth. The girl looked to be about 16 or 17 years old. She had a charming appearance and was so beautiful that it made people's hearts pound. This girl was none other than the girl Lin Feng saw in the Blackstone Mountains. That girl was clearly an incomparably two-faced person. Back then, he was tricked by her. Now, he finally found a chance to take revenge. The girl seemed to be very curious about everything around her. From time to time, she would rummage through the stalls on the side of the road. However, she just wouldn't buy anything. This caused many stall owners to roll their eyes. Lin Feng walked towards the girl with big strides. At this moment, the girl picked up a jade hairpin and said, "I want this. How much is it?" 1,000 immortal stones, the stall owner said, wanting to ruthlessly rip this girl off. "Only 1,000? Are you looking down on me? I'll give you 10,000, the girl said. The stall owner's eyes widened. What was going on? Who would complain that things were cheap? Even Lin Feng almost fell to the ground after hearing her words. When Lin Feng reached out to grab her, she quickly jumped away as if she had eyes on the back of her head. Then, he said to the stall owner, "This guy is my follower. Ask him for money." After saying that, he ran away. Lin Feng was about to give chase. The stall owner grabbed Lin Feng and said, "Don't go, that little girl, no. That fairy said that the jade hairpin was worth 10,000 immortal stones. You should have heard it right. Hurry up and give me the immortal stones." That little girl was really too two-faced. She had probably discovered Lin Feng long ago, and then set up a trap for Lin Feng to fall into. Lin Feng struggled free from the stall owner and said, "Give your sister, I don't know her." After saying that, Lin Feng chased in the direction that the little girl ran away. "He's robbing. How dare he rob someone on the street in broad daylight? Hurry up and help me stop him." After the stall owner put away the things on the stall, he chased after Lin Feng. Many people were watching the show from the side, but where would they find anyone to help? It was not so easy to help in the cultivation world, because there were many people in the cultivation world that you could not afford to offend. If you angered those people, you might die miserably. This kind of situation was too common in the cultivation world. Lin Feng realized that the little girl ran away again. He had to admit that this two-faced little girl was especially crafty. Her escaping skill was definitely top-notch. "Don't let me catch you. If I catch you, I'll make your ass bloom in minutes," Lin Feng said while gnashing his teeth. He rarely suffered losses, but he was played twice by that little girl. Lin Feng was naturally very depressed, but what could he do? He could not catch that two-faced little girl. Other than helplessness, there was only helplessness. After returning to his residence, Lin Feng began to comprehend the magical ability of Heavenly Buddha that he had obtained before. Lin Feng would try to comprehend this magical ability if he had time during this period of time, but this magical ability was very complicated. It was not so easy to comprehend it. Even with Lin Feng's means, he was only at the beginner level. If he wanted to display the power of this powerful magical ability, he must at least comprehend this powerful magical ability to the small success stage, or even the large success stage, but this was not an easy thing to do. At night, Lin Feng suddenly heard a knock on the door. Lin Feng woke up from his cultivation. He could not help but frown slightly. Who was this, knocking on the door in the middle of the night? Could it be a female cultivator who did massage? Lin Feng knew that these high-end residences often had such services. These female cultivators not only had high cultivation, but they also had good figures and beautiful appearances. Their skills were also quite good. Of course, massage was only the basic service. If he wanted other services, he had to have enough immortal stones. If he did not have enough immortal stones, he could only stare helplessly. The night is long. Should I find someone to massage me? Lin Feng could not help but mutter. He went outside. He opened the courtyard door. Just as he opened the door, a delicate body threw itself into Lin Feng's arms. Damn, so crazy, so passionate. Beauty, At least let me see what you look like first before deciding whether I want your service or not. Lin Feng could not help but wail in his heart. But in the next moment, he felt that something was wrong because he smelled blood. This woman was not a masseuse. There was blood on her back. Lin Feng felt blood. Save me. The woman raised her head, revealing her delicate face. After seeing this beautiful little face, Lin Feng could not help but roll his eyes. It was actually the little girl who had bowed to him twice in a row. Now that she was seriously injured, she came to his place. Did she know that he lived here? Lin Feng quickly closed the courtyard door and carried the little girl. He entered the room and tore open the clothes on the little girl's back. Immediately, he saw a piercing wound on her back. The wound was only as thin as a strand of hair, but it was obvious that it had injured her internal organs. What kind of weapon caused this wound? It's actually so thin? Lin Feng could not help but frown slightly. Chapter 49-41. Lin Feng took out an immortal healing pill and fed it to the girl. He channeled his magic power into the girl's body and helped her recover from the effects of the immortal healing pill in her body. With the help of the immortal healing pill, her breathing became much more stable. But at this moment, Lin Feng frowned and looked outside. Then, he stood up and went outside. Before he left, he used a seal to protect the room to prevent anyone from sneaking in. When they arrived outside, they saw that there were clouds of black gas in the courtyard. Then, the balls of black chi turned into cultivators. There were a total of 13 of them. They were all wearing black armor and had swords at their waists. Even their heads were covered with helmets. The leader had a black cloak. It's the middle of the night. What are you doing here? Lin Feng glanced at them indifferently. Kill him, the leader of the cultivators said. His voice was as cold as ice, like the voice of the grim reaper from hell. Lin Feng's face darkened slightly. These people are really a group of people who kill without batting an eyelid. One of the armored cultivators stepped out, drew his sword, and slashed at Lin Feng. After feeling the terrifying power of the sword, Lin Feng was shocked. That sword was so powerful. Lin Feng felt that it was close to the attack of a true immortal. Who are these people? How are they so strong? Are they the people who are chasing after the girl in the room? Of course. The armored cultivator was strong, but he was not in Lin Feng's eyes. Lin Feng quickly moved to the left. The armored cultivator's sword strike struck nothing but air. Then, Lin Feng leaped out and arrived in front of the armored cultivator in an instant. He punched at the armored cultivator. Bang! The powerful punch landed on the armored cultivator's chest. A shocking scene appeared. Many talismans appeared on the armor and, surprisingly, it managed to block Lin Feng's punch. The armored cultivator laughed sinisterly and was about to attack Lin Feng. But Lin Feng was faster. He punched again, and this time, it landed on the armored cultivator's face. Bang! Accompanied by a dull sound of collision, the armored cultivator was sent flying by Lin Feng's punch. Lin Feng's punch was so powerful that it made the armored cultivator dizzy. After all, the helmet could not completely protect the face like the armor on the body. But the helmet was extraordinary and blocked most of the attack. The cultivator quickly recovered. This armor and helmet is good. Its defense is amazing. Lin Feng said, I didn't expect that there would be a young expert like you in this lowly world. You really surprised me. At this moment, the leader of the cultivators said, Cultivators from a lowly world? Where did you come from? Celestial realm, chaotic bound of Xinhuang realm, underworld, wasteland? Or creatures from other realms? Lin Feng frowned and asked. As a half-higher realm, the Undying Realm was an extremely high-level world in this era. Apart from the worlds that Lin Feng mentioned, the other worlds could not compare to the Undying Realm. But since these people said that the Undying Realm was a lowly world, they must have come from one of the worlds that Lin Feng mentioned. Hearing Lin Feng's question, the cultivator sneered and said, Do you think you have the right to know where we came from? As soon as he said that, the cultivator waved his hand again. Instantly, the 12 cultivators behind him surrounded Lin Feng. These guys, they were strong, and the defense of their armor and helmets was also very terrifying. It would not be easy to kill them, but he was not without weaknesses. The armor did protect his body, but the helmet had a weakness because the eyes were exposed. In fact, the ruler's armor was the same. After all, he needed to see the situation outside. If the eyes were also closed, wouldn't he be blind with his eyes open? "Kid, die," said an armored cultivator, smiling coldly. He raised his sword and moved towards Lin Feng. "Kid, die." The rest of the armored cultivators also raised their battle swords and rushed towards Lin Feng. These armored warriors cooperated with each other and attacked Lin Feng together. This time, Lin Feng was in a dangerous situation. Lin Feng sneered and then activated his domineering magnetic field. 4 times domineering magnetic field. He instantly used it. The powerful domineering magnetic field enveloped the 12 armored cultivators. The bodies of the 12 armored cultivators were instantly bound. Their bodies were greatly restricted, and their speed plummeted, making it difficult for them to move. And at this moment, 5 stone swords, golden flying sword, black dragon sword, no death sword, spring and autumn sword, broken sword, and other treasured swords. All of them flew out. Lin Feng multitasked and controlled those treasured swords to kill the 12 armored warriors. Those armored warriors were caught off guard by Lin Feng's domineering magnetic field. If they were given time to completely circulate their magic power, they might be able to recover a lot of their battle strength and speed. In this way, they might be able to block Lin Feng's attack. However, Lin Feng did not give them time to counterattack. The moment they were restricted by the domineering magnetic field, the treasured swords had already flown out. Puff, puff, puff. The sound of tearing could be heard. The treasured swords pierced through the heads of those cultivators from their eyes. Then, those treasured swords were summoned back by Lin Feng. Plop, plop. Corpses fell to the ground one by one. The 12 armored cultivators were all killed by Lin Feng. Seeing his 12 subordinates killed, the leader of the cultivators trembled in anger. Lin Feng said, "Don't think that you're superior just because you're from a supreme world. This world is a world where strength is respected, not background. A bunch of self-righteous fellows. Good, good, good." The leader of the cultivators said the word "good" 3 times in a row. One could see how angry he was in his heart. His eyes flashed with dense killing intent. He asked, "I don't kill nameless people. What's your name?" "You don't have the right to know," Lin Feng said indifferently. This was what the leader of the cultivators had said before, but Lin Feng retorted, "I admit that you have some ability, but compared to me, you're still far from being able to compete." The leader of the cultivators sneered. He drew his battle sword and slashed at Lin Feng. Lin Feng held the black dragon sword in his hand and met the attack fearlessly. Clang! Lin Feng's black dragon sword and the leader's battle sword collided fiercely. Suddenly, an earth-shaking sound of collision was heard. Fortunately, there were restrictions protecting them. Otherwise, many people would have been attracted. Chapter 49-42. The little girl in the lead was really terrifying. The battle prowess she displayed shocked Lin Feng. This guy's realm must be extremely high. Generally, when experts make a move, they would generally know the level of the opponent's battle prowess. Lin Feng knew that his chances of winning against this terrifying existence in front of him were relatively small. However, his chances of winning were relatively small, but it didn't mean that there was no chance of winning. The magic lotus, ruler's armor, external incarnation, and the power of the golden dwarf were all mobilized by Lin Feng. After receiving the buff, Lin Feng's battle prowess suddenly increased greatly. "After fighting, I found out that you are even stronger than I imagined. So powerful, so young, yet you have such battle prowess. Even in my world, I have only seen a dozen cultivators like you." The leading cultivator's voice was indifferent. He walked towards Lin Feng step by step, his eyes flashing with dense killing intent. His words made Lin Feng very surprised. This cultivator had seen more than a dozen cultivators like him. The higher realms obviously had more powerhouses than the Undying Realm, and there were also more geniuses than the Undying Realm. Although he didn't know which world this guy came from, it could only be one of those ancient worlds. At this time, the leading cultivator continued, "Now, let's end all of this." As his voice fell, The leading terrifying existence waved his sword and slashed towards Lin Feng again. The power of the leading cultivator's sword was naturally incomparably terrifying. Facing the terrifying sword of the leading cultivator, Lin Feng didn't choose to take it head-on. He used a teleportation technique. Swish. With a flash of light, Lin Feng disappeared from where he was. The leading cultivator's sword slashed at empty space. Lin Feng appeared behind the leading cultivator and slashed at him with his sword. Success. Lin Feng's eyes lit up slightly. Seeing that Lin Feng's sword was about to kill the leading cultivator, the leading cultivator actually turned around and slashed at Lin Feng. His reaction was simply too fast. Moreover, not only was his reaction fast, the speed of his attack was also unbelievably fast. Therefore, when the leading cultivator blocked Lin Feng's attack, the moment the two swords collided, the leading cultivator turned around and slapped at Lin Feng. Lin Feng and the leading cultivator's palm collided, and a powerful force surged into Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng felt as if he had been hit by an ancient divine mountain. That feeling was too painful. Lin Feng almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Lin Feng's body was blown away. It took him a long time to stop. Amazing! Amazing! What's your cultivation level? You've definitely surpassed Essence Immortal. Could you be a Tao Immortal expert? Lin Feng took a deep breath and looked at the cultivator. The 4 golden sage immortals of the Essence Tao. Now that Lin Feng had fused with the magic lotus, the ruler's armor, the external incarnation, and the golden dwarf, he felt that even if his combat strength had not reached the peak of the Essence Immortal realm, he should be able to reach the 7th or 8th firmament of the Essence Immortal realm. In addition, Lin Feng's physical body and divine abilities were relatively powerful. Therefore, he should not be at a disadvantage when facing cultivators at the 9th or 10th firmament of the Essence Immortal realm. However, in front of this cultivator, Lin Feng was at a disadvantage. This was enough to explain many things. Lin Feng felt that this fellow should be a Tao Immortal expert. Of course, even if he was at the Tao Immortal realm, he was probably only at the early stage. If he was at the mid-stage or high-level Tao Immortal level, Lin Feng would probably be crushed. However, although Lin Feng was not a match for this person, he had not been crushed by this person yet. You're very smart to be able to guess my strength. Next, I'll let you have a taste of my ultimate skill. This expert looked at Lin Feng with a sinister and terrifying gaze. Then, he raised his sword vertically in front of him. Then, he shouted in a low voice, "Dark cross slash." As soon as he finished speaking, he slashed out a cross mark in the void. 2 sword chi formed a cross slash and directly slashed towards Lin Feng. When the cross sword chi quickly slashed towards him, Lin Feng's hair stood on end. He felt a dense killing intent from the cross slash. This was definitely an extremely heaven-defying divine ability. Now, it was being used by this expert. Lin Feng knew that he had to carefully deal with this terrifying attack, or else he might die a terrible death. Lin Feng held the Black Dragon Sword in his hand and tried to communicate with the weapon spirit of the Black Dragon Sword. The Black Dragon Sword was still enchanted with several seals. A special method was needed to unlock the seals. The more seals that were unlocked, the more powerful the Black Dragon Sword would be. Other than unlocking the seals to increase the power of the Black Dragon Sword, the best way to increase the power of the Black Dragon Sword was to awaken the weapon spirit of the Black Dragon Sword. Once the weapon spirit was awakened, the power of any magic treasure would increase greatly. Roar. A dragon's roar came from within the Black Dragon Sword. The weapon spirit of the Black Dragon Sword was a black dragon. Now that the weapon spirit of the Black Dragon Sword had awakened, the power of the Black Dragon Sword began to increase greatly. Lin Feng held the Black Dragon Sword in his hand and directly swept towards the cross sword chi that the opponent had slashed out. Clang. Along with the clanging sound of collision, Lin Feng's Black Dragon Sword collided fiercely with the opponent's cross sword chi. What made Lin Feng feel terrified was that even after activating the weapon spirit of the Black Dragon Sword, he was still forced back by the opponent's terrifying attack. The web between Lin Feng's thumb and forefinger was cracked. Fresh blood immediately flowed out. A Tao Immortal Realm expert was actually so terrifying. Even if he was only a beginner Tao Immortal, He was so terrifying that people couldn't help but be shocked. It's all over. After that cultivator repelled Lin Feng, he directly jumped up. He held the battle sword in his hand and charged towards Lin Feng, wanting to kill Lin Feng. At this moment of incomparable danger, behind the cultivator, a figure appeared without a sound. The Demon Lord. The Demon Lord had appeared. The Demon Lord blasted a palm towards this cultivator. This cultivator clearly sensed the dangerous aura behind him. He turned around and swept his sword towards the Demon Lord. Yao Jun, on the other hand, quickly changed his attack style. He caught the opponent's sword with both hands. This cultivator wanted to pull out the battle sword, but he couldn't do it. At this moment, Lin Feng had already arrived behind him. Lin Feng knew that the defense of his armor was astonishing, so Lin Feng didn't choose to attack his body. Lin Feng jumped up, and the strength of the dragon elephant arm completely erupted, and then punched towards the opponent's head. Bang! Accompanied by the sound of a violent collision. Lin Feng's powerful punch fiercely smashed on the opponent's head. The power of the dragon elephant arm was really too violent. The cultivator's head was actually smashed into his chest by Lin Feng's punch. Chapter 49-43. Huff, huff, huff. Lin Feng panted violently. After seeing the corpse on the ground, Lin Feng felt a lingering fear. This guy was really too terrifying. If it wasn't for the Demon Lord, it would have been dangerous enough today. Moreover, this guy must have many powerful methods that he hadn't used yet. However, he didn't have the chance to use those methods now. The Demon Lord then dissipated. He returned to the Demon Bead. Lin Feng didn't thank the Demon Lord because there was no need for thanks between him and the Demon Lord. This guy's source energy should still be useful to me. It can definitely improve my cultivation. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. He took out the heavenly fire and burned the corpse of the Tao Immortal Expert to ashes. In the end, only the source energy, armor, helmet, and storage ring were left. Then, Lin Feng burned the corpses of the other 12 cultivators into ashes. Their source energy was preserved. Lin Feng couldn't use their source energy, but he could give it to others. Those armors were all good treasures, but Lin Feng had a supreme treasure like the ruler's armor. Therefore, he couldn't use those armors, but Lin Feng could also give them to others or sell them. However, Lin Feng planned to form his own personal guard in the future. There didn't need to be many people, but they had to be experts. When the time came, each person would have a piece of armor and a helmet. At that time, their combat strength would definitely increase greatly. Of course, forming a personal guard was only a preliminary idea. It would take some time to implement this idea. Moreover, Lin Feng hadn't found a suitable candidate to join his personal guard. Lin Feng didn't want to recruit ordinary cultivators or older cultivators. Lin Feng wanted to recruit those young and powerful cultivators to be his personal guard. He could also train them at the same time. However, Lin Feng also knew how difficult it was to find such people. This couldn't be rushed. He needed to find a suitable candidate while waiting. After dealing with these guys, Lin Feng returned to his room. He checked the black-bellied girl's condition and found that her injuries had stabilized a lot, but she still didn't wake up. It seemed that it would take some time for her to wake up. Now was the critical period of her recovery. This girl had fair skin and a cute face. Anyone who saw this girl couldn't help but have some improper thoughts about her. However, this girl was too black-bellied. Lin Feng was extremely speechless. When this girl woke up, Lin Feng felt that this girl's origin might be frightening. The next day, Lin Feng once again returned to the room where the black-bellied girl was resting. When he came here, the black-bellied girl was still sleeping. After waiting for a while, Lin Feng found that the black-bellied girl's eyelashes fluttered slightly. It seemed that the black-bellied girl should be about to wake up. Seeing that the black-bellied girl was about to wake up, Lin Feng came to the bedside and used a restriction to seal the black-bellied girl's spiritual power. Not long after Lin Feng sealed the black-bellied girl's spiritual power, the black-bellied girl opened her eyes. She first looked at the ceiling in confusion, but then seemed to remember what happened before. The black-bellied girl quickly turned her head and saw Lin Feng looking at her with a smirk. The black-bellied girl patted her full chest. It seemed that she was still alive. Thank the heavens. Name, where are you from, your measurements, quickly report it. Lin Feng looked at the black-bellied girl and said. The black-bellied girl rolled her eyes and then shouted loudly, "Help! Help! A stinky rogue is bullying me." At the same time, she jumped down from the bed, wanting to escape. However, she discovered that her mana had been sealed. The black-bellied girl's face suddenly became extremely ugly. Lin Feng said, "You don't have to shout. There is a restriction here. Even if you shout until your throat is broken, people outside can't hear you. In addition, I have sealed your spiritual power. Now you are completely my prisoner." Handsome brother, how can you do this to me? My mother died when I was 3 years old, and my father died when I was 5 years old. I am alone, and I am being chased. I am so pitiful, but you still want to bully me. The black-bellied girl became more and more sad as she spoke. She even shed tears as she spoke. Lin Feng rolled his eyes. He naturally did not believe the black-bellied girl's words. There was no truth in her mouth at all. Lin Feng said, "Name. Where are you from? Your measurements. Don't make me say it again. If you don't answer me honestly, I will personally check it." The black-bellied girl suddenly gnashed her teeth. Now she couldn't wait to directly punch Lin Feng half to death. But thinking of the current situation, she could only temporarily submit to Lin Feng. The black-bellied girl said, "My name is Lung Zishi, a native cultivator of the undead world. As for your measurements, I really don't know, because I have never measured it before." Lin Feng, of course, was just teasing this girl. He didn't really want to know this girl's measurements. But this girl's answer was obviously not truthful. Let's not talk about her measurements for the time being. Let's talk about the origin of this black-bellied girl. She said that she was a native of the undead world. Lin Feng naturally did not believe such nonsense. The people chasing after her were from a higher world. Lin Feng did not believe that those from a higher world would wander around the undead world for no reason. Lin Feng said, "Do you know what happened when you were unconscious?" "What happened?" Lung Zishi asked. "The people chasing after you came to my place," Lin Feng said. Lung Zishi clearly showed an extremely shocked expression when she heard that. Lin Feng continued, "Such powerful experts are chasing after you, yet you came to my place. Are you trying to drag me down with you?" Lung Zishi looked at Lin Feng with a pitiful gaze and said, "How would I know that those people would chase after me? You still dare to quibble? Do you want to have a taste of my methods of punishing people?" Lin Feng carefully sized up Lung Zishi's enchanting figure. Lung Zishi's face paled when she saw Lin Feng's gaze. She said, "I'll tell you the truth. Don't touch me." "All right, tell me the truth," Lin Feng said. "I know that you are very powerful and have a good character. You will definitely not leave me in the lurch. If those people came after me, you will definitely protect me." Lung Zishi said. Lin Feng curled his lips and said, "Don't flatter me. It's useless." "I'm telling the truth," Lung Zishi hurriedly said. Lin Feng did not continue the conversation on this matter. Instead, he said, "Celestial realm, chaos-bound, netherworld, wasteland, and otherworld. You should be from one of these 5 worlds, right? Which world are you from?" Chapter 49-44. Lung Zishi's eyes flickered slightly. Clearly, this girl was going to fabricate more lies. Lying was a common thing for her. It was unknown how she had developed such a habit. Of course, Lin Feng did not expose her. Instead, he wanted to hear what she had to say. Lung Zishi said, "I have indeed heard of the places you mentioned, but I have never been there. I'm really a native of the undying world." Lin Feng said, "I've already killed those who came to kill you. You probably don't know about this, right?" "You killed them? Is that true?" Lung Zishi became excited when she heard Lin Feng's words. Lin Feng was speechless. Not only was Lung Zishi two-faced, but she was also like a little witch who feared nothing. Lin Feng said, "I have no reason to lie to you. Although those people didn't directly say which world you came from, they said that you came from a higher world. You'd better tell me your origin honestly. I'll give you one last chance. If you don't tell me, I plan to turn you from a young girl into a married woman." You shameless." Lung Zishi was frightened by Lin Feng's words. No matter how two-faced she was still a woman. Women, on the other hand, We're at a disadvantage compared to men. Lin Feng said, "Thank you for your praise. Now, you can tell me your origin." Lung Zishi placed her hands on her hips and said, "I'm afraid that you will be scared to death if I tell you my origin." "Don't worry, I won't be scared to death," Lin Feng said indifferently. Lung Zishi snorted and said, "Just as you said, I come from a higher world. I come from the wasteland world." Lin Feng's eyes lit up when he heard Lung Zishi's words. Wasteland. It was a well-known name. Lin Feng had heard of the wasteland countless times. Even now, Lin Feng didn't know much about the wasteland, mainly because he didn't have the means to understand the wasteland. He had always wanted to know what kind of world the wasteland was. Now, he finally saw the opportunity to understand the wasteland. He could get some specific information about the wasteland from Long Zishi. "Why are those people chasing you?" Lin Feng asked. "Because I obtained the 9 nether bird. That's why they chased after me. They want my 9 nether bird," Long Zishi said. Lin Feng had naturally heard of the 9 nether bird before. It was an extremely heaven-defying creature that could contend against a true dragon. Once it matured, its power would be unimaginable. There were no traces of the 9 nether bird in the mortal world, or even the undying realm. At most, there were only a few creatures with the 9 nether bird's bloodline. However, those creatures were not the real 9 nether bird. Compared to the real 9 nether bird, there was a huge difference. However, Lin Feng knew that the 9 nether bird that Lung Zishi was talking about was most likely a pure-blooded 9 nether bird. Otherwise, why would the experts of the wasteland chase after her? A pure-blooded 9 nether bird was as powerful as a pure-blooded true dragon. When it matured in the future, its battle strength would be incomparably heaven-defying. "What kind of forces are they from?" Lin Feng asked. "They are from the Darkness Empire," Lung Zishi said. "Darkness Empire? Is that one of the forces in the wasteland world? How are the forces in the wasteland world divided?" Lin Feng asked curiously. Lung Zishi said, "The wasteland world is vast and boundless. More than 70% of it is a boundless sea. The sea is extremely terrifying because there are countless terrifying beasts living in the sea. For example, the Kurin whale, prehistoric dragon crocodile, great pong, and other creatures. These creatures are all creatures that have crossed epochs. Moreover, they have already solved the problem of weakening due to crossing epochs. Therefore, the sea is an absolute forbidden zone in the wasteland world. If you dare to enter the sea of the wasteland world, it's no different from courting death. Fortunately, those terrifying creatures are restricted by the laws of the wasteland world and are unable to enter the inland world. Otherwise, the inland world would be plunged into misery and suffering. The rest of the land is the land. About 80% of the land is a wasteland. These wastelands contain extremely terrifying death energy, dark energy, and other dark energy. Therefore, the land there is barren and not even a blade of grass grows. Cultivators have no way of surviving in those places. Cultivators usually gather in the big cities. Those cities have huge walls and restrictions that can withstand the attacks of many wild beasts in the wasteland world. Wild beasts? What kind of creatures are they? Lin Feng asked. Lung Zishi said, "There are 3 types of wild beasts. The first type is the wild beasts that have transcended epochs. Some of these wild beasts are strong and some are weak. Some of the kings of wild beasts are about as strong as the giants in the sea area. The second type is the wild beasts that were born in the wasteland. These wild beasts are born in the wasteland. They are born with the power of death, darkness, or other types of dark energy. They are also extremely terrifying. The third type is the normal fierce beasts that have mutated after absorbing the dark energy in the wasteland. Due to the mutation, these fierce beasts have extremely powerful battle strength. These guys will attack the towns in the wasteland from time to time, wanting to devour the practitioners inside." Lin Feng said, "In that case, the area occupied by the wasteland world's cultivators is actually very small?" Lung Zishi nodded. "You can think of it that way. How are the forces in the wasteland world divided?" Lin Feng asked. Lung Zishi said, "There are many forces in the wasteland. In fact, many of them are extremely powerful. However, there are 10 overlord forces in the wasteland world. These 10 overlord forces are countries with centralized power. The major forces are under the command of the 10 overlord forces. These 10 overlord forces are the 10 empires. The emperors of the 10 empires are known as dominators. Every dominator has unimaginable combat strength. Those dominators are basically creatures that have transcended epics. Moreover, they are creatures that have transcended multiple epics. The 10 overlords represent the pinnacle of the wasteland world's combat strength. The forces attached to them basically have no second thoughts. The main reason is that the 10 great sovereigns are simply too powerful. Those forces simply don't dare to have second thoughts. This is a stark contrast to the situation of the undying world's feudal vassals. Each of the 10 great sovereigns has achieved centralization of power. Once an order is given, hundreds will respond to it. No one dares to disobey. Chapter 49-45. Lin Feng couldn't help but reveal an extremely shocked expression when he heard that. Lin Feng had actually heard the term Wasteland Overlord countless times. However, Lin Feng had no idea what kind of existence the Wasteland Overlord was. Now, however, Lin Feng knew that the Wasteland Overlord was actually the emperors of the Wasteland's 10 ultimate empires. Moreover, the Wasteland Overlords were emperors with centralized authority. They were not existences that the celestial emperors could compare to. What level of experts are the 10 overlords? Lin Feng asked. I'm not sure about that. No one knows how strong they are because anyone who has fought the 10 overlords is already dead. Eras after eras have been destroyed, but they have lived on for a long time. They have weathered too many storms. Perhaps only they themselves know how strong they are. Lung Zishi said. Lin Feng asked. How many eras did they cross? Lung Zishi shook her head. Lin Feng continued asking, are there any differences in strength among the 10 overlords? Lung Zishi said, I don't think so. Their strength should be about the same. What about the 10 empires? What's the difference in strength? Lin Feng asked. 9 of them are about the same, but there's one that's slightly weaker than the other 9, Lung Zishi said. Oh, what's that slightly weaker empire? Why is it weaker than the other empires? Lin Feng asked curiously. Lung Zishi said, the slightly weaker empire is called the Sacred Tao Empire. It's said that this empire is in turmoil. The previous overlord disappeared for some unknown reason. The current overlord is the one who succeeded the throne during the early eras. The overlord disappeared for no reason? Lin Feng revealed a look of disbelief. Lung Zishi nodded. Lung Zishi nodded and said, it's like this. Rumor has it that the previous ruler was killed by the new ruler. This new ruler is the previous ruler's junior brother. The Sacred Tao Empire should have been the strongest empire, suppressing the other 9 great empires. After all, apart from their ruler, the new ruler's junior brother is also extremely terrifying. However, with the disappearance of the previous ruler, the Sacred Tao Empire's strength has been greatly reduced. Of course, even though its strength has been greatly reduced, the empire is still incomparably terrifying. Especially after the new ruler succeeded the throne, he received the blessing of the investiture of the gods and obtained the power of heaven's will. This person has definitely undergone a transformation and cannot be underestimated. Lin Feng asked, which empire are you from? Lung Zishi said, I'm from the Frigid Empire. It's the northernmost empire of the wasteland. Lin Feng asked, what kind of power are you from? Said Lung Zishi. The Long clan is just a small clan. Even though my background isn't very good, my talent is shocking. Even those who come from large clans can't compare to me. Apart from my shocking talent, my luck is monstrous, and I've had many miraculous encounters. Lin Feng was speechless when he saw Lung Zishi praising herself. Lin Feng asked, then how did you come to the undying world? Speaking of this, Lung Zishi couldn't help but sigh. She said, back then, when I want to snatch an opportunity, I snatched a 9 netherbird egg from the cave where the 9 netherbird died. When I wanted to leave, I was blocked by the people from the Darkness Empire. I really couldn't escape, but there's always a way out. There was a teleportation array in the cave, so I activated it. When the teleportation array was activated, I was teleported out. Who would have thought that those people from the Darkness Empire would also enter the teleportation array? When I reappeared, I was already in the mountain range where we met before. That place was too frightening, and I almost died there. I almost died there. Lin Feng was speechless when he recalled his first meeting with Lung Zishi. He really wanted to teach her a lesson now. This two-faced girl had ruined him back then. However, teaching Lung Zishi a lesson could wait. Right now, Lin Feng still had some things to ask Lung Zishi. He continued to ask, "You said that there's a teleportation array in that mountain range that leads to the wasteland? Is that teleportation array still there?" Lung Zishi said, "That's a single-use teleportation array. It can be used to travel from the wasteland to the undying world, but it can't be used to travel from the undying world to the wasteland. In fact, this single-use teleportation array can only be used to travel from a high-level realm to a low-level realm. It can't be used to travel from a low-level realm to a high-level realm. In order to travel from a low-level realm to a high-level realm, one needs to use a special ascension passage. However, there's no ascension passage in the undying world that leads directly to the wasteland. However, from what I know, the heavenly realm, the chaotic Xinhuang realm, and the underworld all have passages that lead to the wasteland. These four realms belong to the same plane as the wasteland, so there's no ascension passage. However, I don't know where the passage to the wasteland is. Perhaps only the top experts of the three higher realms know about it." Lin Feng asked, "I heard that there's a passage connecting the foreign realms to the wasteland?" Lung Zishi nodded and said, "It's like this. However, the 10 rulers of the wasteland world are rather disgusted with the foreign creatures, so they suppress them very heavily. Therefore, the foreign creatures don't dare to brazenly head to the wasteland world." "Oh, the 10 sovereigns are disgusted with the foreign realms?" Lin Feng was surprised. This was something he hadn't thought of before. However, this was something that Lin Feng was happy to see. Lin Feng was also very disgusted with the foreign realms. The crimes of the foreign realms were too numerous to count. Their crimes were unforgivable. Lung Zishi said, "I heard that the foreign realms once invaded the wasteland on a large scale. They obviously underestimated the wasteland's strength. The kings and emperors of the foreign realms underestimated the sovereigns of the wasteland even more. After the war broke out, the foreign realms suffered a great defeat. The survivors fled back to the foreign realms. Since then, the sovereigns hated the foreign realms very much. Originally, the sovereigns wanted to join forces to seal the passage to the wasteland from the foreign realms, but they failed. Those passages are rather special and very difficult to seal. After that, the sovereigns stopped paying attention to them." "So, there are no foreign realms in the wasteland?" Lin Feng asked. Chapter 49-46. Lin Feng said, "I want to go to the wasteland." Lung Zishi shouted, "Bring me along. Bring me along. I'll protect you once we reach the wasteland. If you follow Sister Shi, no one will dare to provoke you." "Sister Shi? I think I should call you Maid Shi instead." Lin Feng reached out and pinched Lung Zishi's cheeks before pulling them away. Her pouting appearance was really cute. "Bastard! Bastard! How dare you take advantage of me? Do you believe that I won't beat you into a pig's head?" Lung Zishi shrieked. She could only vent the dissatisfaction in her heart by shouting. Lin Feng pursed his lips and said, "You are now my prisoner. Don't forget that I saved you. Otherwise, you would be a dead man. I know that you are a person who repays kindness, so you can repay me with your body. Tonight, I will be your groom. From tomorrow onwards, there will be a charming and lovely young woman in this world." "Shameless. Scum. Shameless. Who said I'm going to repay you with my body? Stop daydreaming." Lung Zishi glared fiercely at Lin Feng, baring her fangs and brandishing her claws like a wild cat. Lin Feng said, "Then how do you want to repay me? How about I say thank you to you?" Lung Zishi said. Lin Feng's mouth twitched violently when he heard Lung Zishi's words. How could this two-faced girl be so thick-skinned? This young master will definitely settle for the next best thing. I won't let you be this young master's wife. How about this? You can be this young master's maid for the time being. Every day, you will massage my back, wash my feet, warm my bed, and so on. As long as you do well, this young master will reward you well." Lin Feng said. Lung Zishi was infuriated. She said, "I won't do it. I have a noble status. I don't want to be a maid. You are just someone from a small clan in the wasteland world. What noble status do you have? You're not the daughter of the ruler of the wasteland. If you were, I could serve you tea and give you a full body massage or something. But don't forget your identity. Come over here and give me a full body massage. If you don't listen to me, I'll give you a full body examination later. Lin Feng said as he lay on the bed and hooked his finger at Long Zishi. Bastard! Bastard! You only know how to bully me. Long Zishi gnashed her teeth in hatred. She had always been the one bullying others. When had she ever been bullied by others? But now, she was being bullied to this extent by Lin Feng. This made Long Zishi quite depressed. But now, Long Zishi's spiritual power was sealed. He couldn't resist Lin Feng anymore. Long Zishi walked over and started massaging Lin Feng's body. Comfortable, so comfortable. Use more strength. Did you not eat? Left. Yes, yes, yes. That's the spot. Put more strength into it. Lin Feng moaned in pleasure. The feeling of being served was not ordinary. It was no wonder so many people like to have beautiful maids. Now, he finally experienced this feeling. In the afternoon, Long Zishi pulled Lin Feng out to shop. She was very curious about many things. She looked around and looked around. Sometimes, when she saw something she liked, she would pick it up and run away without paying. Lin Feng could only clean up the mess for her. Lin Feng said speechlessly, "You have to pay for the things you buy." Long Zishi said pitifully, "I don't have money. For someone from a small clan like me, it is very difficult to get immortal stones for cultivation. Usually, I don't have any left. Moreover, I am now your maid. No matter what, I should be paid, right? Take the money for these things as my payment in advance." Lin Feng took out 10,000 immortal stones and said, "I have never mistreated the people around me. Even if you are a maid, I will not mistreat you. Take these 10,000 immortal stones and spin them first." Wow, 10,000 immortal stones. So many. Long Zishi quickly kept the 10,000 immortal stones and jumped up and down. She was very happy. She looked at Lin Feng and said with a smile, "Tell me, do you like me? Otherwise, why would you give me so many immortal stones? If you like me, then say it. I can give you a chance to chase me. Like your head. Usually, when I beg for food, I will give you 100,000 immortal stones." Lin Feng said. Lung Zishi naturally heard Lin Feng's teasing words. He actually dared to say that she was worse than a beggar. Lung Zishi was so angry that she reached out her hand and tried to strangle Lin Feng's neck. Then she shouted, "I will strangle you to death." Lin Feng turned around and ran forward. "Don't run." Lung Zishi screamed and chased after Lin Feng. "Help! The tigress wants to kill me." Lin Feng shouted as he ran. "Damn, brother. You actually called such a beautiful girl a tigress? This brother really doesn't know how lucky he is. If I had such a beautiful wife, I would definitely treat her like the apple of my eye. This brother actually made such a beautiful wife angry. Comparisons are odious. Oh heavens, oh earth. Please give me such a beautiful girl." Many cultivators who were watching the show immediately started to talk. Lin Feng and Long Zishi arrived at the black market, laughing and joking. Lung Zishi's character was lively. Being with her, Lin Feng was also infected by her lively character. This was because Lin Feng had a relatively calm character. If he was with other women, he probably wouldn't be so crazy. The black market is even more lively than outside. Lung Zishi said after looking around, "Don't you have such a lively place?" Lin Feng asked curiously. "No, I've never seen it. The people there are all desperately cultivating for survival. However, there might be some in some big ancient cities, but I've never had the chance to go there to take a look," Long Zishi said. Then she added, "However, even if there are such trading markets in those ancient cities, they are probably far less lively than the ones in the Undying Realm." Lin Feng naturally agreed with this point. After all, it was too difficult to survive in the wasteland. When there was nothing to do, those cultivators would probably go to cultivate. Who would have the time to go to the trading market? Chapter 49-47. I want that thing. Lung Zishi pointed to a bracelet. It was a crystal bracelet with 7 different colored crystals strung together. 7 different colors of energy flowed out of the 7 crystals. The 7 different colored energies intertwined together and looked very beautiful. This bracelet was not a powerful magic treasure. It was just an accessory. Lin Feng said, "It's not like you don't have money. Buy it yourself." Lung Zishi said, "I want you to give it to me." Lin Feng had no choice but to buy the bracelet for Lung Zishi. Lung Zishi put the bracelet on her hand and then shook it gently. The bracelet immediately made a crisp jingling sound. The 7-colored light flickered. Under the refraction of the sun, it was simply magnificent and very beautiful. Lung Zishi obviously liked this bracelet very much. Her beautiful little face revealed an incomparably happy expression. Although this little girl was sometimes very black-bellied, in reality, her heart was extremely pure and flawless. Sometimes, from some small things, one could see what kind of person's inner world was. "Do you have anything you want to buy?" Lung Zishi looked at Lin Feng and asked. "Not at the moment." Lin Feng said, "Let's go inside and take a look. Maybe there's something you want to buy? I'll buy it for you then." Lung Zishi said. Lin Feng nodded and continued to walk inside with Lung Zishi. That's... Suddenly, Lung Zishi revealed a surprised expression. She pulled Lin Feng and walked towards a stall. Lin Feng and Lung Zishi came in front of the stall. It was a stall set up by a middle-aged cultivator. There were all kinds of things on the stall. There were many things that were in tatters. They seemed to have been dug out from an ancient tomb. After seeing those things, Lin Feng could not help but mutter. Could it be that he had met the same trade as the immeasurable Taoist? In fact, in a place like the Undying Realm, there were many tomb robbers, because there were many experts and powerful forces in the Undying Realm. After an expert died, there would definitely be many good things in the tomb. However, if the other party's cultivators find out that you're robbing a tomb, you'll definitely be hunted down. Therefore, the tomb robbers of the Undying Realm were relatively low-key. "How much is this?" Lung Zishi pointed at an item. It was a short sword made of an unknown material. There were many ancient runes on it, but the surface of the short sword was rusty. Due to that, the power of the short sword had been greatly affected. If the rust could be removed, the short sword's power would rise greatly. Lin Feng knew of some forces or cultivators who knew how to remove the rust. Now that Lung Zishi had asked him about the short sword, he wondered if Lung Zishi knew how to remove the rust. "This is a peerless sword, but I'm fated with you, so I'll sell it to you for 100,000 immortal stones," the stall owner said with a smile, looking extremely cunning. These businessmen were always full of nonsense and never spoke the truth. Lung Zishi said, "Don't try to get close to me. Who's fated with you? This short sword is already rusted to this extent, and you still have the nerve to ask for 100,000 immortal stones? How can you be so thick-skinned?" After hearing Lung Zishi's taunting words, the stall owner couldn't help but roll his eyes. He waved his hand and said, "Go away. If you're not buying, don't disturb my business here." Lung Zishi said, "Who's not buying? Did I say I'm not buying? Give me a cheaper price for this short sword." The stall owner said, 80,000. I can't go any lower. Too expensive, too expensive. Give me a cheaper price. Lung Zishi said, 70,000. That's the lowest price. Any lower and I'll lose money. The stall owner said. Lung Zishi continued, too expensive, too expensive. Give me a cheaper price. How much do you want? The stall owner said helplessly. Lung Zishi stretched out her jade-like hand and spread her 5 fingers, making a gesture of 5. 50,000? No, 50,000 is really going to make me vomit blood. The stall owner quickly shook his head. Lung Zishi said, "You misunderstood. I said 500. After hearing Lung Zishi's price, Lin Feng directly spat out his saliva. Lung Zishi actually bargained for 500 for something that was priced at 100,000. That was too outrageous. Even Lin Feng wasn't so thick-skinned as to barter at such a price. After hearing the price, the stall owner couldn't help but be stunned. After being stunned for a short while, the stall owner's face darkened. He probably felt that Lung Zishi was playing with him. Go as far as you can think. the stall owner said speechlessly. Lung Zishi looked at the short sword and said, I know the words on it. This short sword seems to be made by an expert from some force called Venerable. It seems to be a burial item. You're actually peddling someone else's burial item. Don't tell me you've dug up someone else's ancestral grave? I'm going to ask others if they know about this force. After hearing Lung Zishi's words, the stall owner was shocked. He quickly said, Young lady, don't ask. Don't ask. I'm afraid of you. I don't want 500 immortal stones. I'll give it to you for free. Hurry up and leave. Hee, you're the one who gave it to me. It's not that I'm not paying, Lung Zishi said with a smile. Then, she squatted down and grabbed a broken clay figurine and stone statue in her hand. She said, I want this clay figurine and stone statue too. The stall owner saw that the stone statue wasn't anything valuable, so he didn't pay much attention to it. He waved his hand and said, Take it, take it. Lung Zishi picked up the clay figurine and stone statue, then dragged Lin Feng away. Wasn't my bargaining ability amazing just now? Lung Zishi asked Lin Feng with a smile. Amazing. Really amazing. Not only did you not spend a single immortal stone on something worth 100,000, you even took a clay figurine and stone statue with you when you left. I'm so impressed. Lin Feng said. Lung Zishi said, I only have 10,000 immortal stones. I can't afford such an expensive thing, so I can only scare the boss. Who would have thought that this guy would be scared to such an extent by me? I actually don't recognize the words on it at all. Hee. Lin Feng said, These grave robbers have many tricks up their sleeves. Ordinary people wouldn't dare to provoke them. You'd better pray that he doesn't come looking for trouble with you. He wouldn't dare. Lung Zishi snorted. Then, she stuffed the clay figurine and stone statue into Lin Feng's hands. Then, she lowered her voice and said, What I really want to buy isn't that broken dagger, but this clay figurine and stone statue. Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. He couldn't help but ask, What's so special about this clay figurine and stone statue? Chapter 49-48. Seeing Lung Zishi's serious expression, Lin Feng showed an extremely surprised expression. Was the clay figurine and stone statue extraordinary? What was its origin? Lin Feng held the clay figurine and stone statue in his hand and observed it. He found that there was nothing special about the clay figurine and stone statue. He didn't even see any runes. However, Lung Zishi didn't seem to be lying. Lin Feng asked, What's so special about this clay figurine and stone statue? I really can't see what's so special about this clay figurine and stone statue. You try to break it, Lung Zishi said. Lin Feng didn't know what Lung Zishi was up to, but Lin Feng still did as Lung Zishi said. He tried to break the clay figurine and stone statue. Lin Feng suddenly exerted force. However, something happened that surprised him. The clay figurine and stone statue couldn't be broken at all. Lin Feng looked at the clay figurine and stone statue in surprise. If the clay figurine and stone statue were ordinary objects, with Lin Feng's strength, it would be easy for him to break the clay figurine and stone statue. However, the clay figurine and stone statue didn't break. This meant that the clay figurine and stone statue was absolutely extraordinary. It was just that Lin Feng couldn't see what was so special about the clay figurine and stone statue. Lung Zishi said, This clay figurine and stone statue is called the cursed clay figurine. It's a very strange thing. Once activated, it can release an extremely powerful curse power to fight against the enemy. You should know that cultivators are most afraid of the curse power. Therefore, once the clay figurine and stone statue is activated, it can often have a miraculous effect. After hearing Lung Zishi's words, Lin Feng's eyes suddenly lit up. The clay figurine and stone statue could release a powerful curse power? Would he be able to use the power of the curse? If it could be used by him, he could use this curse power to activate the Great Curse Art. Lin Feng's Great Curse Art was naturally extremely terrifying and powerful. However, the Great Curse Art was a little special among the 3,000 Great Das. The most unique thing was that it was very difficult for him to activate the Great Curse technique. However, with the support of a large amount of curse power, the chances of activating the Great Curse technique would be much higher. With that thought in mind, Lin Feng asked, If the clay figurines and stone statues release a large amount of curse energy, will I be able to make use of the curse energy? Of course. Lung Zishi said. Once the clay figurine and stone statue is activated, it will produce some divine sense waves. At this time, the clay figurine and stone statue can choose from two states. The first state is the fighting state of the clay figurine and stone statue. In this state, the clay figurine and stone statue is equivalent to an avatar and can cooperate with the master to fight the enemy. The second state is the fusion state. If this state is activated, the clay figurine and stone statue can enter the master's dantian and its power will be connected with the master. At that time, the curse power produced by the clay figurine and stone statue can also be used by the master. Hearing this, Lin Feng was overjoyed. If that was the case, the Great Curse technique would definitely become an extremely terrifying killing move. Moreover, it was a relatively reliable killing move. The Great Curse technique from before was, of course, also a powerful killing move. However, although it was powerful, it was not very reliable. This was because it might not be able to activate the Great Curse technique even if it was activated many times. If one wanted to use the Great Curse technique against the enemy, it would depend on luck. However, with the support of a large amount of curse energy, the probability of activating the Great Curse technique should be greatly increased. This could become a common method. Thinking of this, Lin Feng was naturally overjoyed. Lin Feng asked, "How do I refine this thing? Do I refine it with my magic power? Or do I refine it with my blood?" "Neither works." Lung Zishi said, "You need to inscribe a curse restriction. After that, you can communicate with it using your divine sense." "Do you know how to inscribe a curse restriction?" Lin Feng asked. "Of course. I have many tricks up my sleeves," Lung Zishi said proudly. After hearing Lung Zishi's affirmative answer, Lin Feng was very excited. He could not wait to hug Lung Zishi in his arms and give her 3 kisses. Of course, if he dared to do so, Lin Feng would definitely suffer a tragedy. "Then let's go back quickly. Teach me how to inscribe a curse restriction," Lin Feng said. Lung Zishi said with a smile, "Don't be in such a hurry. I haven't finished talking about the wonders of the clay figurines and stone statues." Lin Feng looked at Lung Zishi, puzzled. According to Lung Zishi, could it be that the clay figurines and stone statues had other effects? If that was the case, it would be a pleasant surprise. Lung Zishi said, "Actually, the most powerful thing about the clay figurines and stone statues is not the powerful curse energy that they can release after being revived, but the secret of the clay figurines and stone statues themselves." "What secret does the clay figurines and stone statues have?" Lin Feng asked, puzzled. It is said that the method of condensing the clay figurines and stone statues is quite special. When condensing the clay figurines and stone statues, some special runes need to be integrated into the clay figurines and stone statues. These special runes are scattered all over the clay figurines and stone statues, just like the acupuncture points in the human body. As you know, the human body has many acupuncture points, and these acupuncture points are extremely important to a cultivator. The special runes that are integrated into the clay figurines and stone statues are also very important to them. These special runes are formed by the method of condensing the clay figurines and stone statues. In other words, if you can decipher the special runes inside the clay figurines and stone statues, you will be able to master the method of creating the clay figurines and stone statues. These clay figurines and stone statues are similar to forbidden weapons. Normally, they will be destroyed after 10 uses. However, if you master the method of creating the clay figurines and stone statues, you don't have to worry about how many times the clay figurines and stone statues can be used. After using them up, you can just create a new one. Lung Zishi said. After hearing Lung Zishi's words, even with Lin Feng's state of mind, he couldn't help but be ecstatic. As the saying goes, it is better to teach a man to fish than to give him a fish. Lin Feng had obtained the clay figurines and stone statues, but there was a limit to how many times they could be used. After using them up, the clay figurines and stone statues would be destroyed and could no longer be used. However, what if Lin Feng learned the method of creating the clay figurines and stone statues? Just thinking about this made Lin Feng extremely excited. "Come, let's go back and study it." Lin Feng held Lung Zishi's hand and said. He and Lung Zishi quickly headed back to their residence. On the way, they met someone. This person was none other than Shui Yueshin. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.